Greetings, everyone. This evening we embark on a tale that once determined the fates of many, deciding who would thrive, who would perish, and who met a tragic end in the depths of the village pond witchcraft. Before you settle in, I invite you to take a moment to show your appreciation for the video and consider subscribing, but only if you truly find joy in the tales I share here. Share with me in the comments your location and the time on your clock as you join this journey. It's truly captivating to witness the diverse souls gathering from every corner of the globe. Now, let us lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan, to create a gentle background hum, and together we shall embark on tonight's adventure. In the modern age, having a cat suggests a deep affection for creatures, a reluctance to embrace commitment, or perhaps a fondness for the quiet scrutiny that accompanies your snacking moments. Yet during the medieval era, your feline friend was far from being just an eccentric companion. It was undeniable proof that you had struck a pact with the dark forces, and the color didn't even need to be black. Indeed, black cats have faced the harshest judgments, often seen as the favored companions of darkness, yet every feline was under scrutiny. The enigmatic cats. They were once believed to be mystical companions, enchanting creatures bestowed upon witches by shadowy powers. What drives them forward? Observing your every move, weaving your enchantments, and savoring the essence of your foes upon their claws. Which, to be fair, seems like just another ordinary Tuesday for certain felines. Should you be spotted nourishing a feline, onlookers may assume you are tending to your otherworldly companion. Should you allow it to nestle in your lap, it's evident that you were engaged in a clandestine strategy session with your fiendish consultant. And if you were to converse with your feline companion, as is the custom for many, your neighbors might not catch the whispers of affection. It was my little fluffy baby, but venture forth, wreak havoc upon the barley crop, and cause Agnes to stumble over her spinning wheel. The church offered little assistance in vindicating the cat's reputation. In the year 1233, a decree was proclaimed by Pope Gregory IX, intertwining the fate of cats with the dark whispers of devil worship. This ignited a tempest of feline slaughters in various towns, a manifestation of fervent belief that, in one of history's most profound ironies, may have exacerbated the devastation of the Black Death. With fewer cats prowling the streets, the rat population began to swell. As the rats multiplied, so too did the fleas, and with the fleas came the shadow of plague lurking ever closer. And of course, when the plague struck, who do you think was held responsible? Indeed, my enchanting friends, it was a relentless cycle of unease feeding on itself. Even in the absence of a feline companion, the mere presence of one lingering about your abode could certainly pique curiosity. Stray cats roamed like furry little judges, their tails flicking with judgment, and if your cat happened to scratch someone, it was as if they delivered a verdict that left them marked and bleeding. That was perceived as a malevolent assault. The sole strategy was to persuade others that Mittens was not under any dark influence. It was undeniably a jerk, a fact that's difficult to dispute. In the days of yore, having a keen understanding of the spice rack was quite the skill, as long as your understanding remains at the point where salt simply makes things salty. Anything more sophisticated, and you were practically sharing a drink with the devil himself. The presence of herbs, particularly those with healing properties, stirred a sense of wariness. Imagine crafting a tea that eases a cough. Perhaps a skill honed under the guidance of a wise healer. Yet, if it truly succeeded, it was evident that you had forged a deal with the dark forces in the realm of medieval medicine. One would find a curious blend of faith and the practice of bloodletting. And if your approach didn't include the ritual of draining half the patient's fluids while whispering incantations, others believed you had acquired your wisdom from a more earthly origin. In the heart of the village, a rich tapestry of knowledge was woven by the hands of women, particularly midwives and seasoned healers, who possessed the ancient art of harnessing the power of plants for their practical remedies. With their skilled hands, they crafted salves to soothe wounds, brewed tinctures to combat fevers, and prepared poultices to heal infections. To the common folk of the village, this was nothing short of remarkable. To the local priest, this was a remarkably potent enchantment. It was a challenge. For certain herbs wore many hats. Chamomile has the gentle power to calm an unsettled stomach, while also cradling one into a peaceful slumber. Valerian had the power to soothe anxious hearts, yet beware, for too much of its embrace could lead one into a tranquil slumber, perhaps a bit too deep. And heaven forbid you were aware of mandrake root, a plant so rich in legend that unearthing it was rumored to unleash a scream, capable of bringing death. Merely possessing some likely meant you dabbled in casting spells on others during your leisure hours. Whispers of doubt began as mere murmurs. One might offer a man a soothing peppermint infusion to ease his troubled stomach. In time, he would appear to be on the mend, and rather than expressing gratitude, a hushed voice would murmur, "That's not medicine. She's enchanted his very being." Before you realize it, you find yourself standing trial for sorcery, with your beloved garden showcased as Exhibit A indeed. Among the more incriminating pieces of evidence during which trials was the mere possession of a herb book, even if it was merely a poorly illustrated guide to identifying inedible plants. To the court, this was not merely education. It was a tome of enchantments cloaked in the guise of learning. In today's world, being left-handed simply means navigating a few extra challenges with scissors and dealing with the occasional smudge on your handwriting. In the days of yore, it suggested you were likely in league with the devil himself. In the ancient tongue of Latin, the term for left, sinister, wove its way through time to become the English word for evil. The depth of the bias was truly profound. The right hand was seen as a symbol of order, virtue, and divine blessing. Being left-handed, amidst the swirling tempest, there lay a tapestry woven with chaos, deception, and the dark arts. In essence, if the divine wielded power with the right hand, then the dark force danced with the left. To wield a quill with your left hand was to inscribe in reverse, a curious talent that appeared most peculiar to the discerning gaze of the medieval observer. Let's face it, medieval handwriting resembled a collection of mysterious symbols, so attempting it with your left hand might have seemed like you were summoning otherworldly powers. Being left-handed only added to the uniqueness of your presence. In the Middle Ages, the notion of difference was often met with disdain. They shared the same desires as the rest of us, allowing us to rest easy, reassured that no one is clandestinely conjuring tempests. Should you grasp a tool, a cup, or a weapon with your left hand, you may catch a whisper from someone nearby, cautioning, "Mark my words, that one spells trouble." The art of the church certainly didn't lend you any assistance, did it? In the realm of religious art, one often finds Christ portrayed with a blessing gesture from his right hand, while the figures of devils, sinners, and the damned are typically illustrated with their left hand, creating a striking contrast between the sacred and the profane. Thus, if you dared to stir a pot counterclockwise with your left hand, whispers would spread through the village and someone might begin crafting your confession before you even knew it. Even the battlefield held its own perils. If you engaged in battle with your left hand, others didn't perceive you as a cunning and unpredictable fighter. They believed that only a cunning sorceress could take the sword in their weaker hand and emerge victorious. It's a compliment wrapped in danger. In a time not so long ago, there were parents who believed they could reshape their left-handed children. They would bind the left hand behind the back, convinced that with enough time, the child would learn to embrace the right hand, the one deemed good by society's standards. And if that didn't work, there was always the hushed murmurs and knowing glances exchanged at church. In today's world, engaging in a dialogue with oneself often signifies a quest for clarity, rehearsing a meaningful exchange, or the amusing moment of discovering that your thoughts are audible to those around you, thanks to your earbuds. In the days of yore, it signified that you were weaving a spell, likely enchanting the very soul of the one who chanced to listen. In a medieval village, the act of conversing with oneself held a weight far beyond mere habit. As you strolled along, your quiet murmurs led others to believe you were weaving spells for ethereal beings lurking just beyond their sight. If you happen to do it close to someone's home, well, you've just woven a tale of misfortune for the entire family and their goats. Life during that time was shrouded in a profound stillness. Silence envelops you, free from the clamor of traffic. The flicker of screens, or the chatter of voices seeking to drown out your whispers. As you softly spoke to yourself while tending to the chickens, the gentle breeze carried your words across the lane where they could easily be misinterpreted by an unsuspecting listener. To lay eggs is to unleash a torrent of chaos. Coincidence became the fertile ground for superstition to flourish. Imagine you're strolling home, softly grumbling about your desire for the wind to calm its restless dance as dawn breaks. A gentle knock at your door stirs you from slumber. Ah, the local priest has arrived, seeking to understand the curious matter of your weather manipulation, a venture taken without the blessing of authority. Even a heartfelt plea could turn against you. Softly sharing a heartfelt prayer in the quiet of the churchyard? Perilous. Lest it was under the watchful eye of a priest during Latin lessons, your words were deemed to carry an air of suspicion. Personal devotion resembled the art of crafting spells in a quiet, intimate setting. Engaging in conversation with animals proved to be an even greater challenge. Indeed, you could simply be praising your cow for her good behavior, yet to the ears of the curious townsfolk, it sounded as though you were summoning your dark companion to carry out your wishes. And what of the cats? Oh, where do I even begin? One might find themselves in a conversation about dinner arrangements, only for someone to fervently claim that you were commanding your cat to cast a spell on the miller's wife. It took little for the whispers of doubt to take root in their minds. Should they have already perceived you as peculiar? Your tendency to murmur while tending to the earth, or crafting ale was the final proof they sought? In certain trials, witnesses recounted hearing peculiar phrases, which might have ranged from an invented melody to the items on your shopping list. In the days of yore, one's social existence hinged not on charm or wit, but rather on the precarious art of evading the dreaded executioner's roster. Are there just too many companions in your life? It was clear that you had a magical way of enchanting others to see the charm in you. Not enough companions? It was clear that you were casting a shadow of disdain on anyone who dared to approach. It was a perfect design, if the intention was to instill a sense of unease in everyone. If you found yourself in the spotlight, others might speculate that it wasn't due to your charm, wit, or that exceptional bread recipe you mastered. Indeed, you had a way of captivating hearts. In the most precise sense, what other reason could there be for so many from the village to come together and lend a hand with your roof, when they wouldn't even extend the same kindness to their own relatives? It seems you've been concocting love elixirs and weaving them into the shared brew. Conversely, if you chose to remain in your own world, the air of suspicion thickened just as quickly. Embracing a life of tranquility, steering clear of idle chatter, and focusing on your own journey. That was almost like a tale unfolding, revealing the truth within its lines. Those who walked alone became the ideal targets for the blame of misfortunes. When the mill broke, the sheep fell ill, or the baker's wife stumbled over a chicken. Someone would remark, "Well, you know who never graces the festivals?" Festivals held an air of peril. If your dancing was too enchanting, you were luring men with your mischievous steps. Those who refrained from dancing found themselves quietly resenting those who twirled and swayed with abandon. Should you have departed before the others, it was likely that you were quietly making your way back to engage in sacred ceremonies beneath the glow of the moon, and if you lingered until the final moment, you were collecting whispers for your next enchantment. Not even the strongest bonds of family could shield you from your fate. Should your kin bask in the glow of fame, whispers may arise suggesting you are drawing from their esteemed legacy as if by enchantment. Should your kin be met with disdain, it seems that the art of sorcery flowed through the veins of your lineage. The most challenging aspect was the inability to alter the way others viewed you. In your quest for balance, you only cast a shadow of doubt upon yourself, transformed from reserve to engaging. You had fallen under the sway of shadowy powers. Transition. From lively to serene, a new pact had been forged, and grand schemes were afoot. During the Middle Ages, the art of midwifery stood as one of the rare esteemed positions a woman could hold. Esteemed, that is, until the moment everything unraveled. Then it swiftly transformed into a form of sorcery cloaked in secrecy. The role of a midwife was to bring new life into the world, yet in the harsh realities of medieval times, this task was as perilous and uncertain as attempting to juggle flaming torches while shrouded in darkness. If the infant and mother emerged unscathed, it's evident that you summoned forces beyond the ordinary to bestow upon them the gift of life. If the infant did not make it, it would be evident that you had offered it to those very sinister forces. The accusers found themselves in a situation that benefited them all around. A shadow of suspicion loomed large. In the tumultuous tapestry of the Middle Ages, the act of bringing forth life was fraught with peril. The mysteries of biology remained shrouded in ignorance, leaving many to ponder whether misfortune was merely a twist of fate or a sinister design at play. In the midst of the trials and tribulations of childbirth, complications such as breech births, infections, and postpartum bleeding often emerged. In a world where accountability was sought, the midwife became the convenient scapegoat for these challenges. The knowledge of midwives regarding herbs and remedies to alleviate pain or hasten labor was certainly not in their favor. These were frequently the same herbs associated with other dubious practices, making a birthing tonic resemble a witch's concoction. And woe betide anyone who dared to incorporate anything out of the ordinary, such as chanting, gentle massage, or heaven forbid boiled water. Such lavishness was a clear indication that you were engaging in something beyond the ordinary. Midwives encountered a vast array of experiences, truly witnessing the spectrum of life. They held intimate knowledge of families, revealing secrets, such as who had once carried a child who had lost that blessing, in which offspring bore an uncanny likeness to the blacksmith rather than their rightful father. This kind of knowledge stirred a sense of unease among the people. In a realm where whispers spread like wildfire, she understands that knowing too much can swiftly transform into knowing too much due to her. Conversations with the otherworldly. At times, the tale of accusation didn't even begin with the family at the center of it all. A jealous rival, a spurned suitor, or a cantankerous neighbor might cast shadows of suspicion upon a midwife, seeking to tarnish her reputation and jeopardize her means of survival. Just a single unfortunate result, or a thriving infant whose guardians held discontent, and the murmurs started to circulate. In the Middle Ages, the understanding of weather was far from scientific. It was a tale woven with suspicion and fear. When a storm raged, frost bit, drought lingered, or peculiar clouds gathered above, the narrative was clear and straightforward. Someone had to be at fault. You've accomplished it. The whims of the weather were a force untamed, dancing beyond the grasp of any mortal hand. When the hail descended and laid waste to the barley fields, it was clear that accountability loomed in the air. Ah, you with your wonderfully quirky habits and that rather unfortunate spot you call home are just the perfect match for this tale. A bolt of lightning has found its way into your yard. Evidence that you were calling forth flames from the skies, a late frost right on the cusp of planting season. It seems you must have shared a secret with the moon, casting a shadow over the harvest. The rain held an air of mystery, as if it were hiding secrets beneath its droplets. Excess of it, and you would have called forth torrents. Too little, and you'd tether the heavens. It was of no consequence that you gained no more from the foul weather than anyone else. Reasoning was merely a suggestion. Some accusations were delightfully detailed. In certain regions of Europe, there existed a captivating belief that witches possessed the extraordinary ability to draw milk from storm clouds, much like farmers would from their cows. When a sudden downpour struck after you had been spotted in the fields, the townsfolk would whisper that you had somehow coaxed the rain from the heavens for your own benefit and by personal gain. They referred to sinister intentions that eluded precise definition. Adventurers might complicate matters. As they journeyed forth and made their declaration, the skies remained clear until I arrived at this village. Congratulations, you have now become the prime suspect in the village's climate. Conundrum: no one doubted the integrity of the travelers. For what reason would a stranger ever weave a falsehood? The echoes of church sermons further ignited the fervor. In times of old, it was said that priests would proclaim how witches possessed the power to summon storms. either as a divine retribution for the wicked or as a safeguard for their cherished harvests. Should your garden outshine your neighbor's despite a season of tumultuous weather? It seems you may be preparing for a reckoning. Fortune was your sole protector, along with the fortunate circumstance of residing far from significant weather disturbances. Yet, in an era devoid of precise predictions, it resembled the challenge of sidestepping puddles while navigating a torrential downpour with one's eyes covered. In time, the very essence of nature would rise up against you, and the villagers would inevitably join the fray. In the Middle Ages, your skin was more than mere flesh. It was a testament to your life's journey. A mole, a freckle, a birthmark, or any peculiar bump might be seen as a sign of a witch's mark, steeped in mystery and intrigue. Evidence of your pact with the Dark One cast aside the notion of written agreements. In the shadowy realms of the medieval era, it seems that demons had a peculiar penchant for marking their agreements upon the very flesh of their unsuspecting victims. These marks, often referred to as witches' marks, were believed to be the spots where a witch's familiar, that animal-shaped demon companion, would draw nourishment. Indeed, it is true. Legend has it that if a mole graced your arm or neck, it meant you were nurturing your own little demonic companion, akin to running a sinister feline cafe from the depths of the underworld. Uncommon birthmarks held a perilous allure, their presence shrouded in mystery, a mark in the shape of a strawberry. That was the mark of the infernal, a shadowy spot, a hidden gateway for malevolent spirits, a scar with a peculiar shape, undoubtedly the aftermath of a nocturnal incantation that took an unexpected turn. And may the heavens be your ally if the mark bore any resemblance to a symbol. As soon as the words escaped their lips, comparing it to a crescent moon, you could almost feel the weight of an impending fate settle upon you, urging you to perfect that innocent yet doomed look. Witch hunters employed a systematic approach to uncover these marks. In the dimly lit room of interrogations, the accused would find themselves stripped bare as the relentless investigators prodded at every hint of suspicion with a needle, searching for the truth hidden beneath the surface. If the mark remained unblemished and pain-free, it served as evidence of its otherworldly nature. Indeed, the nerves dance across the skin, and there are moments when the poke goes unnoticed, leaving you with the weight of guilt upon your shoulders. It wasn't merely the location of the mark that mattered. It was the ability to weave a narrative around it that truly counted. When you claimed it was something you were born with, others would nod knowingly, convinced you had come into this world as a witch. Should you assert that it manifested later in your journey, it is evident that it emerged following your agreement with shadowy powers. Regardless, your reasoning struggled to hold its ground against the sway of the crowd's emotions. Some unfortunate individuals found themselves wrongfully accused due to their perfectly ordinary beauty marks. What could earn you a modeling contract today would have led to a front-row seat at your own execution in times gone by. Ah, the twist of fate. In some cultures, those very marks were seen as symbols of fortune. Yet medieval Europe was not particularly renowned for its acceptance of differing perspectives. In the Middle Ages, the practice of medicine resembled a gamble, where the odds were heavily stacked against survival. The journey of recovery unfolded with a deliberate pace, fraught with discomfort and shadowed by risks that sometimes eclipsed the initial affliction. Ah, but if you were to mend a wound with such swiftness, one might say you strayed from the ancient texts of healing, for the ways of your demand a more deliberate touch, drain their essence. Offer your prayers and wish fervently that they escape the clutches of infection brought on by the leeches. And so the tale unfolded in this manner. Illness emerged from the divine, serving either as a trial or a consequence. Thus, hastily healing someone was seen as meddling with the intentions of the cosmos. If you found a way to banish a fever by morning, that was no mere stroke of luck. It was magic woven into the very fabric of reality. This placed the healers in a difficult situation. In the gentle rhythm of their labor, each deliberate movement spoke of dedication and purpose, embodying the essence of their craft. Yet should their efforts become too seamless, they risked treading into realms that felt otherworldly in a time long past. It seemed that even the noblest of actions were met with unforeseen consequences. The herbalists found themselves in a precarious position. Once upon a time, there was a remarkable tea brewed from the bark of the willow tree, known for its magical ability to reduce a fever in mere hours, and because no one recognized it as a natural painkiller, akin to medieval aspirin, they attributed its effects to magic, and not the whimsical, glittering sort. The sort that arrived wielding pitchforks and torches. Even the most innocent twist of fate could seal your fate. Imagine a scene where the baker's wife, confined to her bed for a week, receives a warm bowl of soup from you. She sips it. A wave of relief washes over her, and as dawn breaks, she rises anew. Rather than expressing gratitude, she and a good portion of the village are now engaged in a lively discussion about whether you employed a resurrection spell. Congratulations, your chicken broth has now taken on a life of its own, weaving a tale of enchantment and mischief. And woe betide you if you dared to mend the wounds of someone the local priest disapproved of. Should the patient lack popularity, their recovery could be interpreted as evidence that you were aiding the wrong kind of individuals. In an instant, you transcended the role of a mere witch. You found yourself allied with the mischief makers of the village as well. To add to the intrigue, certain healers chose to guard their recipes closely, shrouding them in mystery, not due to any enchantment, but rather to guard against others encroaching on their craft. Alas, the shroud of mystery was the only evidence required for others to cast their suspicions upon you, branding you with the mark of hidden wisdom. In the midst of the Middle Ages, the span of life was not particularly kind. Yet that didn't imply you could escape the sorrow of your husband's untimely departure. Should you find yourself a young widow, the villagers would not utter the words, "What a tragedy." They were bound to remark, how convenient." In those days, marriage was often seen as a matter of practicality. The passing of a husband frequently heralded a shift in ownership, the disappearance of financial burdens, and, perhaps most intriguingly, a woman finding herself with newfound autonomy that society deemed perilous. In a world gripped by fear of women asserting their autonomy, the status of a young widow seemed like a bold call to the shadows, inviting whispers of witchcraft and suspicion. When your husband has been unwell for months, it raises questions that linger in the shadows. You allowed the affliction to persist, all for the sake of claiming his estate. Should he pass away unexpectedly, it would be an even greater tragedy. It seems you've cast a dark spell over his drink, or perhaps lulled him into eternal slumber. With your enchanting words, naturally the state of your late husband's soul was a topic of much discussion. If he slipped away quietly, it was your enchanting whispers that guided him into the realm beyond. If he met his end in a cacophony of screams, it was clear you were the one pulling him down to the depths yourself, regardless of the circumstances. The blame rests with you. Your actions following the funeral could potentially complicate matters further. If your sorrow was scant, you were seen as unfeeling, perhaps even relieved to see him go. Excessive grief often serves as a mask. It's a way to cloak the deeper feelings of guilt that lie beneath the surface. Should you have transitioned swiftly, it would suggest that you had meticulously orchestrated every detail. And if you chose not to remarry, you were likely subsisting on the devil's pension. Some widows faced accusations merely for having the courage to outlive their husbands, in a time when men were regarded as guardians. A woman thriving independently suggested she must possess some extraordinary assistance. Reveal ahead. Assistance from beyond the ordinary was a secret sign of sorcery. Certainly, men who had lost their wives did not encounter the same level of examination. When a man took a new bride just 3 weeks after laying his wife to rest, whispers filled the air, suggesting he simply required someone to tend to his meals. When a woman chose to remarry swiftly, society often cast her as a black widow. And at times the label was more than just a metaphor. In the Middle Ages, the extraordinary was merely the commonplace. In a world where the ordinary could easily become extraordinary, a peculiar spoon, a glimmering stone, or an unreadable book might just find you standing before the local magistrate, fervently defending your innocence against whispers of dark alliances. The guiding principle was straightforward. When the unseen lurks in the shadows, peril awaits those who fail to acknowledge its presence. And given that the villagers' encounters with technology were largely limited to the plow, that encompassed A significant portion. A compass, you say. Magic and mystery. It's a lens that brings the small into focus. Magic. Ah, a seashell. What if you resided hundreds of miles away from the shore? Clearly, a bewitched artifact from a siren you had tempted with your very essence. The allure of jewelry carried its own set of dangers. When you adorned your finger with a ring of peculiar design, onlookers whispered tales of its power, believing it to be a mystical talisman capable of conjuring storms or unearthing hidden treasures. And may the heavens be your guide if it was inscribed in a tongue lost to time. Even if it was merely the misguided Latin of a local blacksmith who fancied himself witty, the tales within the pages were even more disheartening. In a time when the written word was shrouded in mystery, the common folk regarded writing with a wary eye, akin to crafting cryptic symbols meant for otherworldly beings to decipher. An herbal guide may evoke the essence of a spellbook, while a cherished family recipe penned down could be perceived as a mysterious grimoire for conjuring delectable yet wicked pies. At times, the peculiar item was merely something from a distant land. Goods exchanged from distant lands held an allure of the exotic and the beautiful, whispering tales of their journeys and the arcane wisdom they had gathered along the way. A delicately carved figurine from a faraway market could be perceived as a guardian charm, not for you, but for the sinister entities you were said to be consorting with. Naturally, there was the issue of completely forgetting that you even possessed the item. In numerous witch trials, the accused often found themselves in disbelief as an inquisitor revealed an item from their dwelling, proclaiming it as damning evidence, a peculiar stone, a withered herb, or a vial of oil. One might ponder, that's merely a trinket my aunt bequeathed to me. Yet to the court it stood as a prime piece of evidence in the saga of you against the unending fires of Prudence. In the midst of the Middle Ages, the essence of timing transcended mere comedy. It was the distinction between a simple villager and the jester of the devil himself. Chuckle at an inopportune time. You may as well begin collecting wood for your own demise. To chuckle amidst the solemnity of a church service was akin to laying bare one's soul. Silent admission of mischief. In the hallowed halls, they spoke of a cunning figure, weaving humor into the air, seeking to divert the devoted from their path. Forget the fact that the priest had just mangled a Latin phrase. So thoroughly it seemed as though he was invoking a blessing upon a goat. Your smirk had transformed into undeniable proof of something otherworldly at play. Funerals were yet another treacherous landscape to navigate. Amidst the anticipated solemnity, a smile or a chuckle, perhaps sparked by a pallbearer's stumble or a fond memory of the deceased's humor, could send the village gossip swirling into a frenzy. They would insist she carries no sorrow. She feels a sense of satisfaction, for she was the one who set it in motion. Even the most innocent of moments can take a perilous turn. Picture the miller weaving a tale about his grain shipments, while your mind drifts away, lost in thoughts far removed from his monotonous narrative. A sudden chuckle escapes you, and now the onlookers believe you're in on a secret joke with your unseen, mischievous companion. At times, the doubt arose not from the moments of laughter, but rather from the silence that followed, when the lord of the manor shared a jest. A lack of laughter might lead others to speculate that you were harboring unspoken grievances against him. It seems that whether you chuckled excessively, scarcely, or in an unexpected manner, each could be deemed a form of sorcery. And may the fates protect you from a laugh that echoes oddly, a raucous cackle, a hearty snort, or a surprisingly high giggle beckoned whispers of suspicion. The villagers whispered of witches, claiming their laughter was a strange and eerie sound, oblivious to the fact that the local ale could turn even the most sensible into a madcap after just a few mugs. The twist of fate. In an era marked by fleeting lives, harsh realities, and the shadow of disease, the sound of laughter emerged as a precious gift, a rare jewel amidst the darkness. Instead, it was handled like forbidden treasure, something to be dispensed with caution, lest it become a key piece of evidence in your trial. In the Middle Ages, the experience of living alone was not regarded as a tranquil retreat. There was an air of enigmatic solitude. To be outside the warmth of a household one must surely be guarding a secret. And as the whispers of the townsfolk suggest that something was likely a cauldron and a dark pact with the devil himself. In those times, the choice to live alone was not one that many made willingly. In quaint cottages, extended families gathered closely, while apprentices found themselves sharing quarters with their masters. Widows often sought solace and support by moving in with their relatives. Privacy had become a rare gem, something few even thought to desire. Yet it seems witches are the exception. Thus, if you found solace in your own company, you were not merely self-sufficient in the shadows. You schemed your clandestine rites, ensuring no eyes would bear witness to your arcane endeavors. Residing on the outskirts of the village or nestled within the woods cast an even deeper shadow of intrigue over your living situation. That place lacked the serenity of a peaceful retreat, and the view was far from charming. In that hidden sanctuary, one might find themselves in the company of woodland spirits, perhaps even indulging in the most mischievous of feasts. Forget the fact that the primary reason for your residence there was likely the affordable rent and the assurance that your firewood would remain untouched by your neighbors. Truth be told, there was a certain charm to the idea of solitude. There was no need to navigate through whispers, unexpected visitors, or the frustration of lending out your prized cooking pot. In the realm of medieval thought, the desire to shun the company of others was not regarded as a hallmark of untrousing. It was a harbinger of your schemes to unravel the very fabric of Christendom, one accursed loaf of bread at a time. Your everyday routines would be examined closely. Did wisps of smoke dance from your chimney at peculiar times, concocting elixirs? Did you close your windows tight, concealing sinister rituals? Did you kindle a flame in the stillness of the night, engaging in dialogue with the ethereal? For in the days of yore, the folk of the Middle Ages found no necessity for illumination in the simple task of mending their worn socks. It was unfortunate that many individuals linked hermits to peculiar religious zealots or enigmatic healers, both of whom lingered in that ambiguous realm between sanctity and heresy. Living alone positioned you precariously between two realms, where just one irate neighbor could thrust you right into the realm of ignoble transgressions. In the Middle Ages, making a prediction, any prediction, was akin to entering a tavern. Boldly proclaiming you had the plague and anticipating that patrons would generously offer you a drink. The outcome was all but certain to be unfavorable. There was no need to foresee something as grand as the king's assassination or the world's demise. Indeed, the expectations were significantly reduced. It seems we may be in for some rain tomorrow. Which one shall we choose? Do you believe the harvest will be poor this year? Which one? Might be a good idea for old Thomas to consider mending his roof before the chill of winter sets in. Bravo, you've just cast a spell upon his dwelling. Ah, the irony of memory. It seems that folks hold on to the moments of your triumphs, yet the countless missteps fade into the shadows, lost to the passage of time. When you remarked on the peculiar clouds, little did anyone know that a week later a tempest would brew, culminating in a lightning strike upon the church steeple. Your words, seemingly casual, held a weight that resonated with the unfolding drama of nature. It seems you have woven the very fabric of the weather to suit your desires, even the most apparent. Forecasts can lead you into a web of complications. Those with keen observation could sense the sky's impending gloom and catch the scent of rain carried by the breeze. Yet to speak of it before the first drop fell would invite accusations of conjuring the storm. Should you find yourself in possession of anything that raises an eyebrow, perhaps a walking stick or a basket brimming with herbs, you might as well fast forward to the trial phase. Some forecasts ventured beyond the realm of weather. If you suspected that a neighbor's cow was with calf, you were merely interpreting the omens, which was just a quaint way of invoking dark powers. And if the cow later brought forth a calf adorned with peculiar markings, the townsfolk would insist you had cast a spell for your own wicked delight. It was a curious twist that some esteemed professions found themselves in the business of forecasting the future. In the days of old, shepherds, farmers, and sailors relied on their keen observations, weaving together the whispers of the seasons, the dance of the tides, and the breath of the winds. That, If you found yourself outside those roles and showed even a whisper of vision, you became a challenge to the established and divinely sanctioned way of life. Alas, to foresee anything favorable may carry the same peril as foreseeing calamity. When you declared that the baby would be a boy, the moment arrived to reveal the truth, curious minds would flock to you, eager to uncover the secret behind your foresight. In the void left by biology textbooks, the answer revealed itself. With clarity, enchantment. During the Middle Ages, passage of time did not always bring with it the honor that comes with age. It was accepted with a hint of reluctance, viewed with a shadow of doubt, and if you reached an age beyond the time when you could toil in the fields, bear offspring, or manage a pot without spilling half its contents, you found yourself in perilous territory. In a realm where the struggle for existence was relentless, individuals sought neat narratives to make sense of the extraordinary, and the mere act of enduring beyond the years whispered of magic. In those days, it was a rare thing for anyone to reach the age of 40. If you found yourself still moving about at 70, the inquiry wasn't, "What's your secret?" It was, "From whom did you take a piece of the essence to arrive at this moment?" Perception of longevity shifted away from mere genetics, leaning instead towards the notion of shadowy agreements, particularly if one appeared vigorous enough to haul their own firewood. The danger intensified as you surpassed the years of those around you. In a world where the echoes of your youth fade with the passing of time, you become a blank canvas, ready to be painted with the colors of the village's shared tales. Once upon a time, there was a midwife shrouded in mystery. The envious neighbor. Is the year 1346, a woman whispered a prophecy about rain. Her words proved hauntingly true. As you journey through your 80s, the essence of who you once were seems to fade away. You are a living, breathing archive of intriguing tales that raised eyebrows. Even the typical markers of time seemed to conspire against you. Weathered skin, evidence that the dark forces had claimed you, struggling with your vision. Clearly the outcome of countless midnight ceremonies illuminated by flickering flames, a figure bent with age, such is the fate of one who has borne a cauldron for many years. And let us not overlook the medieval fascination with the teeth of witches. If a few were absent, one might think you had employed them in some magical concoctions. And may the heavens be your guide if your mind remains as keen as ever. In a world where the written word was a rarity, possessing knowledge, particularly at your tender age, could signify but one truth. You are safeguarding secrets that should never see the light of day. Your choices lacked wisdom. You possessed an alluring danger. To add to the complexity, older women found themselves especially at risk. In a world where the absence of a husband left them vulnerable, they were often perceived as drifting through society, more inclined to seek the company of shadows and whispers, perhaps even the elusive spirits or mischievous demons that lurked. In the corners of the night, in the year 1119, the Holy Land found itself at a delicate juncture, teetering on the edge of fate. 2 decades had passed since the conclusion of the First Crusade, a time that left behind a patchwork of Christian held lands amidst a landscape still alive with animosity. Within the protective embrace of Jerusalem's city walls, a sense of safety lingered. Yet beyond those boundaries, the paths to revered destinations were fraught with danger, in a land fraught with peril. Pilgrims, humble farmers, noble ladies, and even once repentant knights found themselves ensnared by the treachery of bandits, captured by ruthless raiders, or mercilessly slain for the scant treasures they possessed. Each pilgrimage to the Holy Sepulchre carried the peril of becoming a final voyage. Into this perilous realm ventured a French knight known as Hugues de Payens, a man of profound faith, yet grounded in reality. Hugues recognized that swords could honor Christ just as effectively as prayers. In the company of 8 brave knights, he took a sacred vow before the Patriarch of Jerusalem, pledging to embrace the life of monks, to wield their swords as soldiers, and, most importantly, to safeguard the pilgrims journeying to sacred lands. This was a significant pledge. The men cast aside their desires for personal riches, embracing vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. dedicating their lives to a cause that could meet its end at any unexpected roadside ambush. Their headquarters was a place unlike any other, steeped in tales and whispers of the extraordinary. In a moment of historical significance, King Baldwin II bestowed upon them quarters on the Temple Mount, nestled within a wing of the former Al-Aqsa Mosque, a place the Crusaders held sacred, believing it to be the very site of King Solomon's temple. From this hallowed ground, the brave warriors adopted their title, the humble defenders of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, known to many as the Knights Templar. They emerged with a striking and meaningful presence, draped in a simple white mantle that spoke of purity, adorned with a vivid red cross that signified their sacrifice. They were not mere wanderers for hire. They were a formidable brotherhood. Bound by loyalty and duty solely to the Pope himself, this granted them a shield against the local political turmoil, a reality that would not only bolster their strength, but, over time, render them a formidable threat to their adversaries. In their formative days, the Templars were a small band, humble in their means, depending on the generosity of European nobles who viewed them as the Church's valiant defenders in the East. Yet, whispers of their bravery started to circulate. Pilgrims recounted tales of valiant knights draped in white, charging boldly into peril, slicing through traps like celestial avengers. In a time when belief and battle intertwined, the Templars stood as a testament to both sacred warriors who held scriptures in their souls and swords in their grasp. In the dawn of an order, a tale began to unfold, destined to expand beyond its modest beginnings. It would weave a legacy of grand castles, untold riches, and enigmatic shadows that would linger in the annals of history for ages to come. In a time long before the clash of swords echoed through the Holy Land, a different kind of presence had taken hold in Jerusalem, not as fighters, but as nurturers. In the 11th century, a humble brotherhood emerged, dedicated to caring for the sick and weary pilgrims. This group would come to be known as the Order of the Knights of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, or simply the Hospitallers. In a city revered by three faiths, they extended their hands with medicine, food, and shelter, never inquiring about a traveler's origins or past transgressions. Yet following the First Crusade in 1099, the landscape of their existence transformed. Dramatically, the streets brimmed with not just pilgrims, but also soldiers, merchants, and spies, each weaving their own tale in the bustling tapestry of life. The atmosphere hung heavy with anticipation. The Hospitallers came to understand that mere compassion could not protect their patients from the looming threats of raiders and the chaos of war. Guided by the vision of Blessed Gerard and later his successor Raymond Dupuy, the order evolved from its humble beginnings of charity into a formidable brotherhood of warriors. The dark cloak they once donned as healers now bore a new emblem, a white eight-pointed cross, representing the virtues they pledged to uphold. Among them are faith, humility, mercy, and justice. Their role blossomed in remarkable ways. Freed from the constraints of hospital wards, the Hospitallers embarked on a remarkable journey, erecting and defending mighty castles throughout the Crusader states. Among these, Crac de Chevalier in Syria stood tall, its imposing walls striking fear into the hearts of Muslim armies, while earning the admiration of their fellow Crusaders. Within these walls, their intertwined essence flourished. Within a grand hall, they tended to the ailing and the injured. In a different tale, they honed their skills with sword and shield, readying themselves for the inevitable summons to battle, in contrast to the Templars, whose fame was built on exceptional skill in battle. The Hospitallers nurtured a harmonious blend of warfare and benevolence. One day, a Hospitaller knight stands resolute, defending a fortress tower against the relentless tide of a siege. The very next, he finds himself in the quiet of a hospital ward, gently changing bandages and tending to the wounded. This unique combination of prowess in battle and heartfelt kindness earned them admiration far and wide, even from those who would rather not acknowledge it. In the year 1113, a significant moment unfolded as they received papal recognition, a pivotal act that solidified their independence. This momentous decision placed them directly under the Pope's authority, liberating them from the grasp of local rulers. This independence enabled the Hospitallers to amass great wealth and influence, thanks to generous gifts of land and riches. From all corners of Europe, every noble in search of spiritual redemption discovered the Hospitallers to be a cause most deserving of their support by the mid-12th century. The order emerged as a vital pillar in the defense and logistics of the Crusaders. They were more than just soldiers or medics. They served as the heartbeat of the Crusader states, vigilantly overseeing the realm where life and death danced perilously close, often just a sword's length away. In a time when the Templars and Hospitallers had firmly planted their roots in the Holy Land, a new chapter unfolded with the emergence of the Order of Brothers of the German House of St. Mary in Jerusalem. Known to many as the Teutonic Knights, this order arose from a distinct purpose: to cater to the needs of German-speaking pilgrims and crusaders on their sacred journeys. In the year of our Lord 1190, the flames of the Third Crusade blazed fiercely across the lands. Beyond the walls of the beleaguered city of Acre, the atmosphere was bleak and foreboding. Illness, scorching temperatures, and injuries took more souls than blades ever could. In the midst of turmoil, a band of merchants hailing from Lubeck and Bremen came together to construct a makeshift hospital, sheltering the weary beneath a humble canopy of ship sails. Its mission was modest, yet essential: to look after their fellow countrymen in a distant land where the chasms of language could spell the difference between survival and peril. What started as a humble infirmary gradually transformed into a well-structured order in the year 1198 with the divine favor of Pope Innocent III. The Teutonic Knights emerged as a formidable military monastic order, intertwining the compassionate healing mission of the Hospitallers with the disciplined martial prowess of the Templars. They donned a striking habit, a white mantle adorned with a bold black cross, creating a vivid contrast against the sunburnt sands of the Levant. In the beginning, they were few in number, their impact modest when set against the more established orders. They possessed a notable advantage: their deep connections to the Holy Roman Empire. Among their ranks were experienced German knights, steadfast in their allegiance to the rulers of their homeland, driven by a fervent desire to bring imperial glory to the Crusader states in their quest. They constructed hospitals, strengthened outposts, and participated in significant campaigns, frequently standing shoulder to shoulder with their Templar and Hospitaller allies. But the Holy Land was not destined to be their ultimate destination. With unwavering resolve, the Teutonic Knights set their sights upon the northern and eastern realms, where the fierce pagan tribes stood defiantly against the tide of Christianization. In the early 13th century, a bold venture began as they set forth on the Baltic Crusades, skillfully shaping a crusader state along the picturesque shores of the Baltic Sea. In that land, they raised magnificent stone castles, established the reign of Christianity, and waged relentless battles over many years against the Prussians, Lithuanians, and Samogitians. In the sacred lands and across Europe, the Teutonic Knights wove together intense military endeavors with a structured, nearly administrative method of ruling. They were more than mere warriors. They were pioneers, overseers, and architects of a new era. Their unwavering discipline, precise efficiency, and steadfast faith forged them into a powerful force, earning admiration from allies and instilling fear in their adversaries. From humble beginnings in a modest hospital tent outside Acre, the Teutonic Knights would rise to become a formidable and lasting force among the military orders of the medieval era, crafting a legacy marked by imposing stone fortresses and the struggles over contested frontiers. In a time of valor and devotion, the Templars, Hospitallers, and Teutonic Knights emerged from distinct beginnings and purposes. Yet woven into the very fabric of their existence was a shared foundation, a monastic rule that guided their every step and shaped their destinies. Becoming a part of one of these orders was a journey that transcended the mere act of wielding a sword. It was an absolute yielding of individual liberty to a journey marked by adherence, structure, and belief. A young recruit typically a knight hailing from noble lineage, would cast aside all personal riches upon their initiation. All that he had known, his lands, titles, and income, were surrendered to the order, leaving him with naught but the garments on his back and the weapons bestowed upon him. In return, he was bestowed with the habit of the order. For the noble order, the pure mantle adorned with its crimson cross. For the Hospitallers, the dark cloak adorned with a radiant white cross. For the Teutonic Knights, the emblem of white adorned with black. These garments transcended mere uniforms. They stood as sacred emblems of promises made in the presence of the divine. Life within the order danced to a precise cadence. Each day unfolded and closed with whispered prayers, often in the cool embrace of a candlelit chapel. In the hushed atmosphere, meals were consumed as sacred words echoed through the air, a solemn reminder that the night's sustenance was granted for a singular purpose: to honor God through valorous deeds or acts of compassion. Indulgences were strictly off limits. There shall be no pursuit for mere amusement, no ornamental attire, no vivid garments to distract the eye. Horses were a precious commodity, exchanged among knights, while the number of personal servants was kept to a bare minimum. Even correspondence from home might be scrutinized by those in charge to ensure focus remained on the mission at hand. At the heart of their code, knights were called to embody the essence of the three sacred vows: struggles of scarcity, claiming what is rightfully theirs, embracing a life of purity, choosing to set aside the bonds of marriage and the joys of family, and compliance, executing commands with unwavering resolve. Yet alongside these solemn vows, the military orders wove in an additional promise: the unwavering commitment to uphold the faith, even at the cost of one's life. In a time of great turmoil, a valiant knight vowed to hold his ground against the encroaching enemy, steadfast and unwavering, retreating only at the command of his Lord. His noble heart compelled him to shield the innocent pilgrims, widows, and orphans from the shadows of danger that threatened their peace. To transgress these sacred guidelines may lead to severe consequences, including penance, fasting, public shaming, or the ultimate fate of being cast out from the fellowship. In the shadows of history, a code emerged, shaping the lives of those who embraced it. From its depths arose a cadre of warriors both feared and revered, whose legends echoed through the annals of the medieval world. To their adversaries they appeared as zealots, yet to their brethren in faith they stood as Evadus, sacred warriors, armored monks devoted not to wealth or fame, but to the redemption of souls. It was this unwavering code that empowered small bands of knights to defend fortresses against overwhelming armies, to stride into seemingly futile battles with courage, and to evoke admiration throughout Europe and the Middle East. The code served as their might, yet, in certain respects, it also sowed the seeds of their ultimate demise. The Crusader orders did not merely patrol roads or guard gates. They transformed the very fabric of the medieval Near East. In a world where danger lurked at every turn, castles stood as the very essence of existence, embodying strength and serving as vital havens amidst the chaos. For the Templars, Hospitallers, and Teutonic Knights, these fortresses stood as more than mere military bases. They served as vibrant centers of administration, bustling supply depots, and vital rallying points in the noble quest for Christian defense. Among the most legendary tales is that of Crackday Chevaliers, a formidable stronghold of the Hospitallers nestled in what is now Syria. High upon the hill, it appeared as though a city had sprung forth, a realm unto its own. Great walls that encircle like a protective embrace, deep moats that guard against intruders, and towering sentinels ready to unleash fury upon any foe that dares to approach. It had the capacity to shelter thousands, hoard supplies for countless years, and endure the relentless assault of siege engines for months on end. Even the illustrious Muslim leader Saladin chose to sidestep a direct confrontation, fully aware that such an endeavor would deplete his troops. In a time of great intrigue, Templars established a network of fortresses, each one a sentinel, standing watch over vital paths. Saif Tortosa and the coastal stronghold of Chateau Pellerin stood proud, their towering walls and sharp defenses crafted to repel the onslaught of stones and arrows. Within their walls lay chapels, barracks, storerooms, and cisterns designed to gather the precious rainwater, each detail meticulously crafted for the arduous journey of siege warfare. In the annals of history, the Teutonic Knights, while not as celebrated in the Levant, would leave an indelible architectural legacy in the Baltic lands. Their grand castles in Prussia and Livonia stood not merely as fortresses, but as powerful emblems of colonization, crafted from sturdy brick and stone, towering over the lush countryside that embraced them. In the heart of modern Poland, structures such as Marienburg Castle emerged as vibrant administrative capitals. These grand edifices were not merely fortifications. They became bustling hubs, sheltering soldiers alongside officials, scribes, and the treasures of governance. These castles, formidable in their stature, were seldom crafted for mere beauty. Instead, they commanded a sense of wonder and fear. In equal measure, opposing walls might rise 10 meters high, gates fortified with iron, towers strategically placed to unleash a barrage upon any would-be invaders. Within, the arrangement revealed the contrasting existence of the orders. In the shadow of towering armories, chapels beckoned the faithful to prayer, their solemnity contrasting with the clamor of kitchens and refectories that nourished the community. Below ground, storerooms brimmed with grain and salted meat, a testament to the foresight that would sustain them through long years of solitude. The upkeep of these grand fortresses was no small feat. From distant lands across the sea, supplies were summoned, while talented masons and engineers were brought forth to weave their craft. Meanwhile, vigilant garrisons stood at the ready, prepared for any unforeseen assault that might arise. In a realm where allegiances changed with the wind and territories were carved out through conflict, the fortresses of the Crusader orders stood resolute, tangible evidence that devotion, iron, and masonry could withstand the relentless surge of adversaries. In the beginning, the Crusader orders emerged from humble promises of poverty, yet their impact quickly transformed them into some of the richest entities in the realm of medieval Christendom. Across the majestic castles of the Holy Land and the grand estates of France, England, and Germany, the Templars, Hospitallers, and Teutonic Knights wove a tapestry of power, commanding extensive networks of land, farms, mills, and ports. These treasures came from the hands of kings, nobles, and merchants, each one convinced that their generous offerings to the orders would earn them the blessings of the divine, along with a sprinkle of worldly benefits. In a time of great transformation, the Templars emerged as pioneers, wielding a remarkable ability that would forever alter the landscape of European finance and banking. Brave souls journeying to the Holy Land encountered a perilous challenge. With their pockets heavy with gold, they became irresistible prey for cunning thieves lurking in the shadows. In a clever twist of fate, the Templars devised a remarkable system of letters of credit to navigate their challenges. In a time of great journeys, a traveler could entrust their coins to a Templar preceptory nestled in Europe, receiving a carefully penned note in return, which would allow them to reclaim their wealth in the distant East. This ensured the safety of the pilgrims, while enabling the Templars to manage and allocate resources on a grand scale. Before long, even the kings found themselves turning to the treasuries of the Templars. Once upon a time, an order emerged as the trusted financiers to kings and queens, providing the gold to wage wars, overseeing the flow of royal riches, and protecting the treasures of the realm. In a realm where strength and strategy intertwined, their network of fortresses stood tall, serving not only as bastions of defense, but also as fortified vaults. Each garrison, a well-armed outpost, echoed with the whispers of power and protection. In a time of great upheaval, the Hospitallers carved out their own path, amassing vast resources, not through the world of banking, rather through the steady flow of rents, the fruits of the land and the treasures claimed from the battlefield. In the grand tapestry of Europe, their estates wove together the threads of hospitals, castles, and fleets, guaranteeing that both their military endeavors and acts of charity were always well-equipped and supported. In the heart of the Baltic, the Teutonic Knights forged a thriving economy from the lands they claimed. They skillfully imposed taxes, seized control of vital trade routes, and tapped into the riches of the earth, with amber shining as a prized luxury in the tapestry of medieval Europe. Riches bestowed clear benefits, superior armor, mightier fortresses, and the means to enlist talented mercenaries in times of need, yet they also invited doubt. In a time when the Church extolled the virtues of humility, the image of warrior, monks feasting lavishly, adorned in exquisite cloaks, and commanding the respect of kings could stir feelings of envy and trepidation. Yet, for centuries, their wealth served as the foundation of their military prowess and authority. These were not mere factions of fervent warriors brandishing their blades. Across the vast expanse of the world, these were mighty entities, their intricate logistical webs weaving through cities like London and Acre, Lubeck and Cyprus. With their wealth, they could command fleets, rally troops, and sway the powerful, establishing themselves as a formidable presence in the intricate dance of medieval politics and warfare. In the age of the Crusaders, gold and faith intertwined, and the military orders mastered the art of harnessing both with unparalleled skill. The military commands emerged from the intense fires of conflict, their legacies etched in the blood-stained earth of battlefields, across the vast expanse from the Levant to the Baltic. The Templars, Hospitallers, and Teutonic Knights engaged in fierce battles during the medieval era, often serving as the valiant shock troops capable of altering the course of fate, or as the steadfast defenders who remained when all seemed lost. In the annals of history, a remarkable chapter unfolds during the Battle of Montgisard in the year 1177, where the Templars etched their legacy into the fabric of time. In a time of great turmoil, King Baldwin IV of Jerusalem, burdened by the affliction of leprosy, rallied a small but determined band to stand. Against the overwhelming might of Saladin's forces, the Templars surged forward with unyielding determination, breaking through the Muslim front lines and casting Saladin's forces into disarray. The triumph unfolded like a grand tale, showcasing the mastery of discipline that overshadowed mere numbers, forever etching the Templar saga as valiant warriors. In the annals of history, Hospitallers carved their name into the tapestry of time during the Siege of Rhodes in 1480, a remarkable chapter that unfolded centuries after the sacred lands were lost, confronted by a formidable Ottoman fleet and legions of soldiers. The Hospitallers endured for weeks, their walls enduring the relentless assault, yet remaining steadfast. Each incursion was confronted with unwavering resolve, as sword clashed against shield. Healing arts and fierce combat spirit sustained the defenders, even as the toll of battle grew heavier. As the saga unfolded, the Teutonic Knights redirected the battlefield to the northern realms. In the year 1410, a pivotal chapter unfolded at the Battle of Grunwald, where they confronted a united Polish-Lithuanian army. The confrontation unfolded as one of the grandest spectacles of medieval Europe, and for the Teutonic Order, it culminated in calamity. With the fall of their Grand Master, a somber silence enveloped the land. Thousands of knights now lay lifeless, and the once mighty grip they held over the Baltic began to slip away, even in the face of defeat. Their disciplined formations and powerful cavalry charges stood as enduring examples of the art of medieval warfare. The orders took on pivotal roles in lesser-known yet equally significant campaigns, safeguarding supply lines in the Holy Land, guiding pilgrims through perilous territories, and executing daring raids deep into enemy lands to disrupt their logistics. With remarkable agility, rigorous training, and unwavering discipline, they engaged in fierce battles across open fields and endured the hardships of relentless sieges, skillfully adjusting to the ever-changing landscape and conditions. In triumph, they were celebrated as the chosen ones of the divine. In their downfall, they became symbols of sacrifice in the hearts of their loyal followers. Their banners adorned with the red cross, the white eight-pointed cross, or the black cross, emerged as symbols of unity and purpose on the battlefield stretching from Jerusalem to Prussia. These campaigns, filled with both triumph and sorrow, etched the orders into the annals of history, not merely as monks or warriors, but as emblems of a time when belief and battle intertwined seamlessly. In the era of the Great Crusades, the Crusader orders emerged, yet as time flowed onward, the very world that had given rise to them began to transform. As the 13th century drew to a close, the Christian bastions in the Holy Land began to succumb, one after another, to the tides of fate. In the year 1291, Templars engaged in a valiant struggle at Acre, yet as the city succumbed, the final significant Crusader stronghold in the east vanished into history. In a somber turn of events, the orders found themselves retreating to Cyprus, Rhodes, and ultimately Malta, as the once bright dream of a Christian kingdom in Jerusalem faded into the annals of history. Devoid of their foundational purpose, the orders found themselves grappling with a profound sense of uncertainty about who they truly were. They retained great riches, sprawling estates across Europe, and formidable armies, yet the shared purpose that once rendered them essential had faded away. In a time when monarchs became increasingly cautious of their adversaries, such wariness transformed them into formidable threats. The Templars encountered a fate most severe in the year 1307. King Philip IV of France, burdened by heavy debts to the order, launched a calculated and merciless campaign against them. On a fateful day, Templars throughout France found themselves ensnared, charged with heresy, blasphemy, and clandestine rituals. In the depths of agony, countless souls surrendered to the weight of their torment, revealing confessions to crimes that defied belief. In the year 1312, under the weight of King Philip's influence, Pope Clement V made the fateful decision to dissolve the order. Its territories were taken, its leaders met a fiery end, and the once mighty Red Cross faded from the war-torn landscapes of Europe. The Hospitallers and Teutonic Knights endured through the ages. Yet their journey was not without its shadows of decline and a twist of fate. The Hospitallers found a new home in Rhodes, where they transformed into a formidable naval force standing against the Ottomans. However, despite their valiant efforts, the grandeur of their former influence remained just out of reach. In the year 1410, the Teutonic Knights faced a devastating defeat at Grunwald, marking the beginning of the end for their once mighty Baltic Empire, which gradually fell apart under the weight of emerging nation-states and the winds of the Protestant Reformation. As the 16th century dawned, the illustrious era of the crusading orders had come to a close. Once, the mighty stone castles stood as proud symbols of power and dominance. But with the advent of gunpowder, their grandeur began to fade, rendering them relics of a bygone era in the ever-evolving tale of warfare. With the rise of monarchs came the establishment of standing armies, which diminished the necessity for independent knightly orders. Yet their fall was not solely on the battlefield. It was deeply rooted in the realm of politics. In a time when centralized authority reigned supreme, independent institutions, complete with their own armies, fortresses, and treasures, found it nearly impossible to thrive without the patronage of kings. For some, like the Templars, that favor disappeared into the shadows of the night. For some, it gradually dimmed, giving way to suspicion, envy, and the ever-changing priorities of a Europe on the brink of the Renaissance. The tale of the orders would endure. Yet the era of their splendor when a knight could embody the roles of monk and warrior, banker and builder, had vanished into the annals of time. The decline of the great Crusader orders did not conclude their tale. Rather, it reshaped it into something new. Deprived of their political influence and military strength, they stepped into an uncharted realm, one woven with memory, myth, and legend through the ages. The names of the Templars, Hospitallers, and Teutonic Knights have resonated not only in the annals of history, but also in hushed whispers, enchanting narratives, and intriguing conspiracies. The Templars emerged as a lasting figure in the collective imagination. Their abrupt downfall in 1312, the vanishing of their riches into obscurity, and the chilling execution of Grand Master Jacques de Maule, who, as the flames consumed him, is said to have cursed King Philip and the Pope, sparked a whirlwind of intrigue and speculation. Tales unfolded of concealed riches, arcane wisdom, and connections to the legendary Holy Grail. From the enchanting tales of medieval romances to the intricate plots of modern novels, the Templars emerge as valiant protectors of sacred relics, custodians of hidden truths, or tragic figures caught in the web of a monumental injustice. In a twist of fate, the Hospitallers chose an alternate route. Though their reign over expansive Crusader states had faded, they persisted through their remarkable ability to adapt. In the grand tapestry of history, the sovereign military order of Malta wove a narrative rich in charity and medical care, their appointed cross standing as a symbol of hope and recognition across the globe. Even without their grand castles and mighty armies, the legacy of their service endured, outlasting the empires that once aimed to bring about their downfall. The Teutonic Knights continued to stand firm, even as their Baltic Empire faded into history. The order endured, transforming into a beacon of faith and benevolence. In contemporary society, they transitioned from the chaos of war to the realm of charity, their black cross serving as a poignant reminder of their rigorous, albeit occasionally harsh, medieval beginnings. The tales woven around these orders frequently intertwine reality with the fantastical. Chroniclers embellished their exploits. Foes cast aspersions upon them, and bards spun their narratives into intricate tales of love and treachery. The tales of the Templars' rumored ties to Freemasonry, the Hospitallers' clandestine diplomatic endeavors, and the Teutonic Knights' enigmatic lost relics have woven a rich tapestry of intrigue that has captivated minds for centuries. Annals of history, the stone fortresses of Europe and the Middle East, tell a tale of resilience and valor. Croix de Chevalier, Marienburg, and Château Pellerin rise majestically, each a testament to an era when unwavering faith was safeguarded. By the might of steel. Today, the crusading orders hold a distinctive spot in the tapestry of cultural memory. They weave together threads of history and myth, embodying the devotion and ferocity of the medieval era. Whether regarded as sacred champions, relentless invaders, or enigmatic keepers of time-worn mysteries, they persist in enchanting minds. A testament that, although their flags no longer wave in conflict, the Crusader orders have eternally remained woven into the fabric of history. In the grand tapestry of history, the tale of coffee in the Ottoman Empire unfolds not in the bustling streets of Istanbul, but rather in the wild, majestic mountains of Yemen, where its journey truly begins. In the early 16th century, Yemeni Sufi mystics found a way to keep their spirits high and their minds alert during the long, sacred nights of prayer by brewing roasted beans. From the bustling port of Samoka, this peculiar dark elixir embarked on its voyage northward. Nestled in the holds of merchant vessels, traversing the ancient trade routes of the Red Sea, when coffee first arrived in the grand imperial capital, it was a revelation, a flavor experience unlike anything the Ottomans had ever encountered. In a time when tea had yet to weave itself into the fabric of daily life and wine was shunned by the tenets of Islamic law, this bitter, aromatic brew found its own distinct place in the hearts and rituals of the people. It was a curious blend, neither captivating nor dull. It stirred the imagination while keeping the senses sharp, serving as a perfect ally for dialogue, contemplation, and productivity. In the grand tapestry of Istanbul's history, the first cups were poured within the intimate confines of the elite's private chambers. In the grand palace kitchens, a delightful concoction was crafted as skilled hands perfected the art of brewing. In small copper pots called kezv, the final touch was the presentation, as the drink was elegantly served in exquisite porcelain cups, each one a masterpiece without handles. The Ottomans swiftly transformed coffee into a captivating art form. Beans ground to a fine powder danced gently in the warmth of low heat, their essence sweetened and occasionally kissed by the aromatic touch of cardamom. The brewing process transformed into a ritual, a small-scale spectacle unfolding before the eyes. The arrival of coffee marked the dawn of a vibrant cultural renaissance in the heart of the Ottoman capital. In the vibrant heart of the mid-1500s, Istanbul thrived as a tapestry woven from diverse languages, beliefs, and bustling trades. where its lively markets overflowed with treasures from 3 distant continents. The aroma of coffee seamlessly blended with the vibrant energy of the cosmopolitan scene. Merchants hailing from Syria, Yemen, and Egypt discovered a vibrant market in Istanbul, where the locals were ever so enthusiastic to indulge in the newest luxuries from distant lands. In the beginning, coffee was a beverage reserved for the affluent and the influential. In a world where bags of beans commanded a hefty price, the art of brewing called for tools that were anything but ordinary, yet its allure spread like wildfire. And before long, the yearning for it surpassed even the grandest palace confines. Once upon a time, traders embarked on a journey to import coffee in large quantities, while clever vendors took it upon themselves to prepare this delightful brew for the everyday folk. What was once a cherished delight of the court began to weave its way into workshops, markets, and the bustling corners of the streets. When the first public coffee houses began to flourish in Istanbul during the 1550s, the beverage had already evolved from a mere exotic curiosity into an essential part of social life. In a matter of decades, coffee wove itself into the fabric of Ottoman life, beginning to transform it in profound ways. From its modest beginnings in Yemen, it was destined to evolve into the vibrant pulse of urban culture within one of the world's most magnificent empires. As the mid-16th century unfolded, coffee began to weave its way out of the exclusive realms of noble homes and royal kitchens, heralding a transformation in Istanbul, a city poised for a fresh chapter of communal gathering. Amidst the vibrant tapestry of the city's bustling streets, where spice markets, bathhouses, and mosques intertwined, a new chapter unfolded with the arrival of the public coffee house. In the year 1554, a tale began to unfold as 2 enterprising men from Aleppo and Damascus laid the foundations of the earliest recorded establishments. They understood that coffee transcended mere consumption. It served as a catalyst for connection among people. In these humble shops, small copper pots danced over glowing charcoal, releasing a warm, earthy fragrance that enveloped the senses. Wooden benches adorned the walls, where patrons nestled closely together, savoring their drinks from delicate porcelain cups. They exchanged lively conversations, absorbed tales from the narrators, or engaged in spirited games of backgammon in the tapestry of Ottoman urban life. These coffee houses emerged as transformative hubs, weaving together the threads of culture and conversation. Before they came, the majority of places where people gathered were closely linked to faith, commerce, or leisurely pursuits such as the bathhouse. In the heart of the bustling town, the coffee house stood as a welcoming haven, a place where merchants, artisans, scholars, soldiers, and travelers gathered. Here, the lines that often divided them faded away, allowing for the rich tapestry of human connection to unfold. In a bustling tavern, a janissary could find himself seated alongside a poet, while a merchant might catch the spirited exchange of ideas between 2 learned theologians drifting through the air. The ambiance buzzed with energy, filled with the sound of game pieces clicking together, the melodic flow of poetry being shared, and the joyful laughter of friends as they traded stories and secrets. A solitary cup of coffee may linger for an hour, offering patrons a generous opportunity to engage in conversation, absorb the surroundings, and take in the world around them. In contrast to the raucous atmosphere of taverns, where libations flowed freely, coffee houses emerged as sanctuaries for the mind. Here the air buzzed with the energy of thoughtful discourse, offering a refuge for both lively exchanges and moments of serene contemplation. Those who owned coffee houses soon discovered that the ambiance held equal importance to the brew itself. In countless homes, vibrant carpets, elegant lamps, and intricate calligraphy adorned the spaces, each telling a tale of culture and creativity. Some engaged, talented musicians or captivating narrators to enchant patrons for their distinctive brewing techniques or for infusing their coffee with extraordinary spices. Before long, these establishments began to weave their way throughout the empire. Across the bustling capital and the charming provincial towns, coffee houses emerged as iconic beacons in the urban tapestry. In the early hours, they welcomed tradesmen, for their morning gatherings transformed into serene havens for scholars in the afternoon, and blossomed into vibrant stages for performers under the night sky. Yet their willingness to share drew the gaze of those in power in this space. Dialogues might meander from gentle verses to incisive commentary on politics. As in a matter of years, coffee houses emerged as beloved hubs of community life, while simultaneously drawing the wary gaze of the statual legacy that would linger for centuries to come. From their very inception, Ottoman coffee houses emerged as vibrant hubs. Transcending the mere act of sipping coffee, they served as platforms for the rich tapestry of culture. In a city where the written word held great value, yet remained elusive, to some, these vibrant spaces breathed life into the arts through captivating performances. As you cross the threshold into a beloved coffee house nestled in the vibrant districts of Tahtakale or Üsküdar in Istanbul, you may find yourself welcomed not by the usual calls of merchants, but by the enchanting, rhythmic cadence of a narrator, weaving tales that draw you in. Masters of the spoken word, the metas captivated their audiences with their tales. With a cane in hand and a scarf draped over their shoulder, they glided seamlessly between characters, imitating voices and spinning. Narratives inspired by Ottoman history, folklore, and the broader Islamic world. They had the remarkable ability to portray sultans with the same warmth as a friendly neighbor, transforming ordinary blunders into delightful comedies that filled the room with laughter. The coffee houses became a stage for these artists. In exchange, the performers infused the venues with their very essence. In these smoky rooms, poetry flourished beautifully. In a lively gathering, patrons shared verses from the esteemed Ottoman poets such as Baki and Fuzuli, or crafted their own in a delightful display of camaraderie and creativity, in a vibrant clash of minds. Two masters of verse engaged in a spirited exchange of clever couplets, their words dancing like pieces on a backgammon board, each line a thrilling move in the game of wit. The gentle act of savoring coffee fostered an atmosphere ripe for attentive listening and inspired expression. Music often graced the scene in certain coffee houses. The gentle sounds of the oud or ney wove through the air, their enchanting melodies mingling with the soft whispers of conversation and the delicate clinking of cups. In specific venues, the enchanting art of shadow puppetry, featuring karags and hasavet, would captivate audiences in the evenings, their witty exchanges and clever social commentary bringing joy and laughter to both young and old alike. These creative assemblies intertwined the realms of amusement and learning. Narratives imparted moral wisdom, verses expressed deep philosophical thoughts, and melodies safeguarded the essence of oral heritage. For countless souls, the coffee house emerged as more than a mere gathering place. It transformed into a vibrant academy, a realm where the tales of history, the nuances of language, and the art of clever repartee flowed freely, all without the need for a single page to be turned. As tales of these lively gatherings circulated, creators and thinkers ventured into coffee houses, eager to explore fresh concepts, hone their craft, or simply connect with an audience. Thus, the Ottoman coffee house emerged as a vibrant cultural center, a blend of theater, classroom, and salon, where imagination flourished under the soft light of oil lamps and the inviting aroma of freshly brewed coffee. In the vibrant tapestry of Ottoman coffee houses, poetry and storytelling wove a rich cultural prestige, while games infused them with a lively, everyday rhythm. As you enter on a late afternoon, the air is alive with more than just the gentle murmur of voices. The sharp clack of backgammon pieces echoed. The shuffle of playing cards filled the air. Bursts of laughter erupted as friends playfully teased one another over a well-executed move. In the realm of games, backgammon, known as tavla, held the throne. The tale's roots reached deep into the past, and within the walls of the Ottoman coffee house, it transformed into something far beyond mere leisure. It unfolded as a captivating showcase of cleverness and cunning. Weathered figures leaned over their game boards, much like seasoned commanders strategizing over maps of conflict. As eager novices lingered close by, absorbing wisdom and engaging in spirited discussions about chance and strategy, The rhythmic roll of dice blended seamlessly into the coffeehouse's vibrant soundscape. Harmonizing with the gentle simmering of the cesp, the game of chess was revered and cherished. Those who considered themselves learned would partake in measured, thoughtful contests, employing strategies that harkened back to the ancient days of Persia. A solitary game could unfold over the course of hours, enriched by the gentle sips of coffee and the soft-spoken insights of those watching. For many, these games transcended mere entertainment. They served as a means to challenge the intellect, endurance, and tranquility of the spirit. Card games, frequently brought over from Europe, enriched the tapestry of leisure activities. Yet they sometimes ignited discussions on morality. While some religious scholars looked down upon the connection with gambling, in numerous coffeehouses, the games were enjoyed in a light-hearted manner, where the stakes were merely pride and the thrill of boasting rights. The enjoyment found within the coffeehouse transcended the mere act of playing games. It was in the stillness between actions, in the comfortable silences shared, and in the gentle watching of those who wandered by through ajar doors in this haven. Men sought refuge from the relentless demands of work and family, embracing the solace of familiar rituals for an hour or two. Patrons found their cherished corners, and bonds grew stronger with each shared sip. The coffeehouse buzzed with the exchange of news, flowing as swiftly as the latest whispers among friends. Whispers of market prices floated among merchants, while travelers spun yarns of far-off lands and news of political shifts often reached this place before the official word was given.
Ow!
In the midst of a game, the board might come to a halt, as a patron weaves a tale of a fresh decree from the palace or a juicy scandal from the court. Within the walls of the Ottoman coffeehouse, every moment of leisure brimmed with purpose and intrigue. Each game, each conversation, and every sip of coffee intertwined to create a vibrant tapestry of everyday existence, a fusion of rivalry, friendship, and the leisurely joys that rendered these places essential to the heartbeat of the city. As Ottoman coffeehouses blossomed, they transformed into vibrant hubs of culture and lively gathering places. They transformed into the beating hearts of political activity, the very traits that rendered them exceptional in poetry and relaxed. Discussions also positioned them as prime candidates for the vibrant exchange of political thoughts. In a vast empire spanning 3 continents, tales and tidbits of information drifted like leaves in the wind, carried by murmurs and whispers. It was within the bustling coffeehouse that these scattered fragments converged, weaving a tapestry of stories waiting to be told. Within the bustling confines, traders from the bazaar exchanged tales of shifting tax policies, while janissaries voiced their discontent regarding wages, and clerks pondered the intrigues unfolding within the Sultan's court. A single conversation can effortlessly dance from the price of grain to the latest military campaign, intertwining local worries with the grand tapestry of imperial matters. In the heart of the bustling city, the coffeehouse emerged as a sanctuary for everyday people, a vibrant stage where their voices could rise above the clamor of the powerful. Here, amidst the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, they shared their thoughts and gauged the pulse of the community, weaving a rich tapestry of perspectives and sentiments. This candidness, however, did not go unnoticed by those in power. Sultans and their viziers swiftly discerned that coffeehouses had the potential to serve as breeding grounds for rebellion. Political satire, intricately woven into a narrative, or a shadow puppet performance, might deliver a more piercing critique than any public address. Whispers of news, whether truth or embellishment, danced swiftly from one coffeehouse to the next, often outpacing the state's attempts to rein it in. Certain leaders endeavored to limit the sway of these institutions. In the 17th century, a bold decree echoed through the streets as Sultan Murad IV took a dramatic stand against coffee, dispatching soldiers to enforce his ban and seek out those who dared to defy his command. The stated justification was rooted in morality. Coffee was blamed for promoting laziness and moral decline. Yet the true worry lay in its ability to bring together those with political aspirations. Yet, despite the restrictions, coffeehouses thrived in the shadows, their doors swiftly shutting at the approach of patrols. The rich scent of brewing coffee, cleverly masked by the wafting aromas of food being prepared. Even in the face of sporadic crackdowns, the vibrant political life of the coffee house endured, in numerous respects. It served as the Ottoman version of a bustling public square intertwined with the lively atmosphere of a newsroom. In this space, concepts could be explored, concerns expressed, and bonds created over the warmth of shared beverages. As the 18th century unfolded, powers that be came to understand that coffee houses had woven themselves too tightly into the fabric of urban existence to be cast aside. Not a different approach, certain rulers appointed informants to mingle with the patrons, keenly attuned to the ebb and flow of conversation, and dutifully relaying their findings back to the palace. Thus, the coffee house stood as a beacon of open dialogue, testament to the fact that within the Ottoman Empire, even the simplest of chats could resonate through the halls of authority. One of the most extraordinary aspects of the Ottoman coffee house was its power to unite individuals who, beyond its threshold, would likely never find themselves in the same company. In a world rich with social, economic, and professional divides, the coffee house wove together connections in ways that few other places could dot. In a bustling coffee house of Istanbul during the 17th or 18th century, one could encounter a remarkable blend of characters and tales. In a moment of stillness, a bearded imam takes a breath between lessons at the mosque, while a wealthy silk merchant from the bustling bazaar observes with keen interest. Nearby, a weathered sailor just returned from the docks shares tales of the sea. A janissary stands proudly in full uniform, and a poet wanders, searching for the spark of inspiration in the air around them. In this moment, they found themselves side by side on rustic benches, sharing sips from identical cups, captivated by the same voice weaving tales, and chuckling at the same clever quip. This blending of social circles was, in part, a result of the enchanting allure of coffee. In contrast to wine, it bore no sacred restrictions, and unlike extravagant banquets, it remained within the financial reach of the majority of urban residents. A modest portion came at a small price, ensuring that it was within reach for apprentices, artisans, and laborers alike. In that moment, the meticulous crafting and graceful display captivated the learned, the dignitaries, and the esteemed members of society. Patrons of coffee houses were frequently influenced by their professions. Some venues emerged as the go-to spots for particular trades in one corner. The porters congregated, while the scribes assembled in another, and the sailors found their place in a third. Even in these unique spaces, those from beyond the trade found a warm invitation, lured by the cozy embrace of the stove during winter or the refreshing coolness of shade in summer. The tapestry of beliefs and cultures wove together, each thread contributing to the rich narrative. In vibrant urban centers such as Istanbul, Aleppo, and Salonika, the aroma of coffee wafted through the air as Muslims, Christians, and Jews gathered in the same coffee houses. Particularly in bustling neighborhoods where trade and travel intertwined their lives, amidst the potential for conflict, the familiar dance of ordering, serving, and savoring coffee had a way of easing the frictions. If only for the fleeting moments spent over a single cup, the intertwining of different classes and communities lent both allure and risk to the coffeehouse experience. For the everyday individual, presented a unique opportunity to absorb viewpoints that stretched far beyond their familiar surroundings. Tales from remote lands, whispers from the court, or contemplative reflections from an erudite traveler. To the authorities, the notion of janissaries engaging in casual conversations with merchants or artisans, exchanging ideas with scholars, suggested a perilous blurring of established social ranks. Yet it was this very fusion of voices that infused the Ottoman coffee house with its distinctive vibrancy inside those walls. It was not rank that held sway, but rather the sharpness of one's mind, the art of expression, and the skill to engage in lively discourses, subtle yet meaningful glimpse of equality in a world steeped in hierarchy. In the grand tapestry of the Ottoman Empire, the coffee house emerged as a vibrant arena, a realm where men of all ranks gathered to engage in spirited discussions, play games, and delve into the intricacies of politics. By the dictates of tradition, and societal norms. These establishments were not places where women would often be found. This absence has frequently given rise to the notion that coffee culture belonged solely to men. Yet the truth is far more intricate. Women played a significant role in the rich tapestry of coffee culture, though their contributions unfolded in varied environments. Within the intimate confines of the home, coffee emerged as a pivotal element in the art of hospitality, the dance of courtship, and the warmth of social gatherings. A young woman's talent for brewing coffee held the power to sway marriage prospects, while intricate serving sets transformed into coveted treasures within a dowry. In an elegant setting, female guests were treated to coffee in exquisite gilded cups, often accompanied by delightful sweetmeats. These intimate gatherings captured the essence of the conversational and leisurely atmosphere found in public coffee houses, yet they offered a private refuge from the outside world. In the grand tapestry of society, certain affluent women wove their threads into the rich fabric of coffee culture, engaging with it through the opulent halls of the imperial court. Within the opulent walls of the Topkapi Palace, the esteemed women of the harem savored their daily indulgence of coffee, graciously presented by skilled attendants dedicated to this exquisite ritual. In the realm of the harem, the women held a subtle yet powerful sway over the currents of politics, especially the valid sultan and her favored consorts. Amidst the opulence, coffee emerged as one of the many indulgences that fueled courtly intrigues and animated discussions. In a time when the public coffee houses were predominantly male domains, a few remarkable women dared to cross that threshold. In vibrant port cities and bustling frontier towns, foreign women, especially those hailing from Europe occasionally, ventured forth, driven by curiosity. Their presence, noted in the tales of travelers, captivated local onlookers, leaving them in awe. In some provincial towns, coffee houses that welcomed both men and women thrived on the fringes of Ottoman customs, frequently linked to inns, bustling markets, or lively entertainment spots. The topic of women's presence in coffee houses would sometimes spark lively discussions in the public sphere, conservative critics expressed concerns that the interaction of men and women in these environments might blur moral lines. Yet these same critics often overlooked the lively female coffee culture that flourished in private, where women participated in the same games, shared tales, and exchanged gossip that animated the male spaces. In the 19th century, as the Ottoman society embarked on its journey of modernization, the emergence of new public venues like European-style cafes and patisseries began to weave a tapestry that softened the rigid lines of gender divisions. In the vibrant heart of cosmopolitan centers, such as Istanbul and Izmir, women from the upper and middle classes began to grace select public coffee houses. Though still a minority, their presence marked a significant shift in the social landscape. In this tale, the Ottoman coffee house stood as a realm predominantly for men. Yet the presence of women in the rich tapestry of coffee culture was undeniably woven throughout. They cultivated their own vibrant tradition, filled with engaging dialogue, warm hospitality, and the cherished ritual of sharing a brew. Despite their widespread appeal, Ottoman coffee houses were often viewed with a wary eye. To the sultans and their advisors, these vibrant centers of dialogue were both a blessing and a curse, serving as venues for camaraderie, yet also ripe for whispers, humor, and the kind of political discourse that could stir trouble. In the early 17th century, a significant crackdown unfolded under the reign of Sultan Murad IV, a ruler renowned for his unwavering strictness and his commitment to personal austerity. Murad held the conviction that coffee houses fostered laziness, eroded societal values, and, most perilously, acted as gathering places for those who opposed the status quo. In the year 1633, a great fire swept through Istanbul, its flames igniting whispers of blame towards the coffeehouse patrons, perhaps unjustly so. In response to this calamity, Murad decreed the shuttering of all such establishments. In a time when the aroma of coffee was deemed forbidden, those who dared to indulge faced severe consequences, with some even paying the ultimate price. Yet, the closures never truly extinguished the vibrant spirit of coffeehouse culture. Numerous establishments slipped into the shadows, functioning quietly behind closed doors or masquerading as ordinary residences. As the shadows of the patrols loomed, patrons became adept at concealing their cups and cess, a dance of caution and cleverness unfolding in the dim light. The bands unfolded like a thrilling tale of pursuit, where authorities and citizens danced. In a game of cat and mouse, each move dictated by the whims of the ruler's temperament. In the years that followed, the sultans, though not as harsh as Murad, continued to regard coffee houses with a cautious eye. The worry extended beyond mere moral decline. It encompassed the peril of political instability in the bustling coffee houses. Where whispers of intrigue filled the air, the Janissary corps convened, their loyalty a precious yet capricious treasure. These gatherings might be mere moments of friendly connection, or they could blossom into the beginnings of rebellion. During periods of turmoil, the government found it convenient to close coffee houses, a tactic aimed at thwarting any brewing conspiracies in times of tranquility. Coffee houses still stirred unease, for they were elusive and difficult to govern. In contrast to the mosque, they operated without the watchful eye of religious oversight. In contrast to the bustling marketplace, they roamed free, unbound by the constraints of official trade guilds. In these vibrant enclaves, where private owners held sway, conversations flowed freely, creating an atmosphere that left bureaucrats feeling quite unsettled. Some rulers opted for regulation instead of imposing outright bans. Licenses emerged, taxes took shape, and in certain instances, state informants mingled among the patrons. Those who weave tales and take to the stage were cautioned about treading on specific political grounds, yet many discovered ingenious methods to cloak their critiques in allegory or humor. Ultimately, the coffee houses demonstrated an impressive strength to endure. Every ban appeared to strengthen the public's fondness for them, transforming the simple act of sharing a cup of coffee into a subtle act of rebellion. The ongoing struggle between the people's passion for coffee and the state's suspicion of its communal spaces emerged as a timeless narrative within the tale of the Ottoman coffee house. As the sun set on the Ottoman Empire during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the coffee house stood resilient, having weathered bans, moral crusades, and the shadows of political suspicion. What started as a Yemeni import in the 1500s evolved into an institution intricately intertwined with urban life, making it unimaginable to envision the empire without its presence. Amidst the sweeping changes brought by railways, telegraphs, and the allure of European-style cafes, the traditional Ottoman coffee house continued to captivate the hearts of the city dwellers. Its impact reached far and wide, transcending the confines of its hazy chambers. The coffee house wove itself into the very fabric of Ottoman life, influencing how they gathered, exchanged ideas, and contemplated the world around them. It had fostered those who weave tales, craft verses, create melodies, and ponder the mysteries of life. It was a haven of exquisite creativity and a platform for the light-hearted wit of daily life, where the clever quip of a porter could garner as much admiration as the refined lines of a learned poet. It was an institution where the art of listening was as vital as the craft of speaking, a realm where stories were refined, perspectives challenged, and horizons broadened. The political dimension remained ever present. In the waning years of the empire, coffee houses emerged as vibrant hubs of conversation, where the air buzzed with debates on constitutional reform, modernization, and the empire's role in an ever-evolving world, offering a space for ideas to flourish beyond the constraints of official discourse. In intimate gatherings, where small porcelain cups served as vessels for thought, the seeds of ideas that would eventually shape the early Turkish Republic and the landscape of modern Middle Eastern politics were first sown and passionately debated. Ottoman coffee house wove itself into the fabric of culture, leaving a lasting imprint on architecture, literature, and the rhythms of everyday life. Picture men huddled beneath dim lamps, smoke spiraling into the night, dancing across wooden boards, and the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafting through the air. This tableau encapsulated the essence of Ottoman urban life. Even today, in cities like Istanbul, Sarajevo, and Cairo, the spirit of this tradition endures in neighborhood Kavahaneli, where time seems to slow and the dialogue meanders as smoothly as the drink itself. Across the world, the Ottoman coffee house played a pivotal role in sharing the rich tapestry of coffee culture, extending its influence well beyond its own frontiers. As European adventurers returned from their journeys, they brought with them a captivating concept. By the 17th century, coffee houses blossomed in London, Paris, and Vienna, flourishing as vibrant successors to their Ottoman predecessors both in style and purpose. The tale of the Ottoman coffee house extends beyond the mere beverage. It represents an ideal gathering place where individuals from diverse backgrounds could come together, share thoughts, and connect to a greater community. In a realm where the tides of time shift swiftly with every new generation, it's attaining promise. A place at the table, a cup to hold, and a voice to share retains its strength like never before. For the samurai, the armor known as yoroi transcended mere protection against arrows and blades. It wrapped around me like a second skin, telling my story, a living testament to my journey, and a bold proclamation of my allegiance. Each curve of the lacquered plate, every twist of the silk cord, and each crest adorned in gold held significance that transcended the realm of battle. In a world where strict hierarchies reigned and reverence for tradition ran deep, armor worn by a warrior served as a striking emblem of their ancestral roots. The family crest, or mon, frequently adorned the helmet, kabutos, shoulder guards, and was sometimes stitched onto the breastplate. To behold a warrior's mark was to understand his lineage, his forebears, and the heritage he bore into the fray. This was something far beyond simple adornment. It was a silent promise, commitment to preserve the dignity of those who had donned the same insignia before him. Color spoke in whispers, conveying meanings beyond words. Specific colors were designated for noble lineages or held deep symbolic meanings. Crimson may evoke a sense of bravery and the readiness to spill blood in service to one's sovereign. Lacquer exuded an air of dignity and gravitas. Gold leaf whispered of opulence and the watchful embrace of the divine. Every choice made was intentional. Each hue and shade was carefully crafted to convey a distinct narrative to both allies and adversaries. Intricate designs and embellishments frequently echoed profound spiritual meanings. A helmet could be embellished with a crest resembling a dragon, evoking a sense of ferocity, or graced with antlers to harness the strength and endurance of the noble stag. In the tapestry of samurai culture, one can find the delicate threads of Shinto and Buddhist beliefs woven into their very essence. The lotus flower, a symbol of purity, blooms amidst the chaos, while the waves, ever resilient, crash against the shores of time. And there, in the horizon, the rising sun stands as a beacon of unwavering loyalty to the empire. These emblems acted as powerful symbols, ever-present reminders of the warrior's noble qualities and the divine energies he summoned in battle. The lacquered finish, a marvel that transcended mere practicality, the polished exterior warded off water and safeguarded the metal or leather beneath, while simultaneously crafting a reflective brilliance that made the armor shimmer in the sunlight, serving as a quiet yet potent intimidation on the battlefield. As the enemy confronted the formidable line of samurai, each polished armor stood as a testament, proclaiming their readiness, their unity, and the profound legacy they bore upon their shoulders. To don the yoroi was to become the very essence of one's clan, faith, and personal honor. Within the samurai's thoughts, the armor transcended mere fabric for battle. It became a profound reflection of the spirit. Taking it off after the fight was more than simply untying cords. It marked a descent from an elevated existence where each piece and tie had turned a man into the vivid embodiment of his heritage. For the samurai, donning their armor was a ritual steeped in reverence, never rushed or taken lightly. It was a purposeful, nearly ritualistic endeavor, one that could stretch on for an hour or more when executed with care. This was not just about donning armor, it was about embarking on a profound journey, a transition from the mundane to a heightened state of awareness and preparation for the challenges of battle. It was a journey that frequently commenced with a cleansing ritual in the quiet moments before battle. Some warriors would cleanse their hands and faces with pure water, or engage in brief Shinto rituals to pay homage to the kami, the spirits, seeking their divine blessing. Some may choose to share a brief Buddhist sutra for guidance, while others find solace in the quiet rhythm of their breath, anchoring their thoughts and calming their spirit. Entering the fray was more than a test of strength. It was a journey of the heart and soul. The moment of putting on the armor marked the beginning of that profound transformation. It all began with the undergarments. A delicate cotton or silk kimono graced the skin, offering a gentle embrace and serving as a foundational layer to ward off any discomfort. Upon this, a padded jacket, shittage, and high-date thigh guards would be adorned. These elements allowed the weighty plates to be donned for extended periods, sparing the body from fatigue. Every layer was meticulously bound, the cords carefully calibrated to withstand the tumult of conflict. Then arrived the armored components presented in a meticulously arranged sequence. First, as soon as it were secured, the shin guards firmly in place. Then came the coat enveloping the armored sleeves, with a sense of purpose. Next, the do or cuirass was carefully fitted around the torso and fastened tightly at the sides. This centerpiece was frequently the most elaborate, showcasing the clan crest with great prominence. The sound of the shoulder guards echoed, broad and sweeping, designed to shield against descending blows. The kabuto, the helmet, was frequently the last piece to be donned, marking that pivotal moment just before one was fully prepared. Fastened snugly beneath the chin with a shinobi no-o cord, the kabuto's heft and the sense of confinement served as a poignant reminder to the warrior. From this moment onward, he was transformed, no longer merely himself, but a samurai, ready to face the trials of battle. Companions, often loyal retainers or brave warriors, frequently played a crucial role. In the journey, this was not merely about efficiency, it was a testament to trust and solidarity. The gesture of fastening another man's armor held a deep intimacy and profound meaning. It signified that you were readying him for a battle that could determine his very existence. As the final knot was drawn tight and the last plate gleamed under a careful touch, the samurai underwent a remarkable transformation. The sacred act of preparation sharpened his concentration, fortified his determination, and served as a reminder that he bore not only his own destiny, but also the pride of his clan as he ventured into the unknown. Among all the elements of samurai armor, none bore greater symbolic and psychological significance than the kabuto, the helmet. It was the last adornment set upon the warrior's brow before entering the fray, and with it arrived a metamorphosis, not merely in visage, but in essence. In the grand tapestry of the samurai's existence, the yoroi stood as the embodiment of their honor, while the kabuto reigned as its majestic crown. The creation of a kabuto was a harmonious blend of artistry and engineering prowess. The bowl, or hachi, was crafted from a multitude of overlapping metal plates, expertly riveted together to form a robust structure capable of deflecting arrows and sword strikes with ease. The front boasted a visor, mabazashi, occasionally arching outward to protect the eyes while crafting a striking and intimidating silhouette. At the back, layered neck guards known as shikoro elegantly fanned out, safeguarding the nape while allowing for free movement. Yet the kabuto served a purpose that reached far beyond mere protection. It was a vivid proclamation, many adorned themselves with intricate Made-8, crest-like ornaments perched upon the front, manifesting as gilded horns, fearsome demons, dragons, or stylized clan emblems. These designs held a purpose beyond mere decoration. These symbols were selected with great care, designed to uplift allies, instill fear in foes, boldly declare the wearer's essence amidst the chaos of battle. A warrior, marked by a majestic pair of towering antlers or a radiant sunburst, stood out unmistakably amidst the tumult of battle. Within the kabuto, the yukabari, crafted from silk or cotton, served to soak up sweat and enhance comfort. The helmet was fastened by the shinobi no, a cord tightly bound beneath the chin. This knot held great significance. Let the helmet be too loose, it risks slipping away at a crucial moment. Yet if it's too tight, it may constrict the wearer during intense effort. With a careful adjustment, the samurai embraced his warlike form, a small yet intentional gesture that marked his readiness for battle. There existed a certain decorum in the manner the kabuto was treated. It was always set down with intention, never left to languish on the ground or carelessly discarded. When not adorning the warrior, it may find its place upon a lacquered stand. It's often showcased in a position of great esteem within the warrior's abode. In ceremonies, it was refined to a brilliant shine mirroring the dedication and pride of its possessor. The kabuto transcended its role as mere armor. It stood as a declaration of preparedness, a symbol for the leader, and frequently a cherished relic handed down through the ages. As the samurai placed the helmet upon his head, he completed a profound metamorphosis from mere man to fierce warrior, embodying the essence of his clan's honor and standing as its steadfast protector. If the kabuto adorned the head of the samurai, the do, the cuirass, pulsed with the very essence of its spirit. This vital element shielded the torso, the very heart of the warrior's being, where a single expertly aimed arrow or sword thrust could spell the end of existence. Yet, the do held a significance that transcended mere protection. It served as the backdrop for a samurai to reveal his clan's essence, showcase his individual style, and express his beliefs about the art of battle. Once upon a time, the do embarked on a remarkable journey through the ages, starting as formidable iron ore, leather plates. With the passage of time, they blossomed into the exquisite lacquered, segmented wonders of the Sengoku period. The armor was crafted with great care, featuring horizontal lames and kozain, small scales of iron or hardened leather, all laced, together with silk cords in beautifully intricate patterns. These cords, known as odoshi, held a significance beyond mere function. Their hues whispered tales of significance, revealing status, lineage, or the roles they played upon the field of battle. Adorning the do came with its own set of unwritten rules. It was secured around the torso with cords expertly tied in precise knots, providing a snug embrace while allowing for free breaths. The front and back panels intertwined, weaving a tapestry of strength over the crucial areas, with a well-fitted do. The samurai could twist, draw his bow, or wield his sword with ease, illustrating that mobility held equal importance to protection. The surface of the do frequently resembled a masterpiece. Some displayed the family crest, mon, adorned in shimmering gold leaf. Others showcased intricate lacquered designs of dragons, waves, or clouds, each one a testament to strength, resilience, and the blessings of the divine. These motifs might serve as powerful symbols, bestowing upon the warrior an aura of invincibility. For those of elevated status, the conclusion was flawless, the lacquer gleaming with a profound luster that captured the light amidst the chaos of battle, a daunting vision for any adversary. Wearing the do marked a pivotal moment of change. Helpers or attendants could steady it as the cords were drawn tighter, ensuring each knot was secure. For a warrior of honor, this step held deep meaning and served a purpose beyond the mere act itself. The chest, sanctuary for the heart, and lungs now bore the proud protection of the clan's honor. In certain traditions, a warrior may softly utter a prayer at this moment, recognizing the fragility of his form and entrusting his destiny to the divine. Once secured, the do enveloped the samurai in a profound sense of determination. It stood as the very heart of his protection, a piece that bore the weight of his family's legacy etched into its surface, safeguarding the life it enveloped beneath. Its layers, as the guardian shielded the essence. A warrior found it impossible to battle with prowess unless his arms and legs were well defended. The limbs danced in the heat of battle, ever vulnerable amidst the clash of swords, the twang of bows, the thunderous gallop of cavalry charges. Thus the sword, coat, and sunita emerged as vital companions, serving not merely as tools of defense, but as instruments of harmony and grace. The sword and shoulder guards were grand, posing rectangular plates that draped from the upper arm, offering protection to the shoulders and a portion of the upper torso. Fashioned from lacquered iron or leather scales, intricately laced together, they expanded outward, expertly designed to deflect the downward strikes of swords or spears. Their movements flowed with precision, a delicate balance that permitted the arm to draw back a bowstring or wield a katana, yet remain steadfast during swift maneuvers. Frequently, they displayed the family crest, or were harmoniously matched with the do, creating a cohesive appearance for the entire suit. The coat served as a shield, safeguarding the arms from wrist to shoulder. Crafted with care, these armored sleeves blend the strength of chainmail, the flexibility of kusari, the resilience of metal splints, and the comfort of fabric padding. The outer arm stood strong and steadfast, fortified to withstand the trials ahead, while the inner arm danced with grace, allowing for fluid movement and adaptability. The coat were fastened at various intervals, ensuring a snug fit that would thwart any loose fabric from entangling with a weapon or the armor of an adversary in the heat of battle. The coat could be the pivotal factor that turns a mere deflection of a sword's edge into the grim reality of a severed arm. The sunit, or shin guards, served as protectors for the lower legs, a vulnerable area frequently aimed at in foot combat to unbalance an adversary. Crafted from vertical iron splints, stitched onto a cloth or leather base, sunit were fastened. With straps at the back of the calf, the design enabled a warrior to kneel, sprint, or mount a steed without the plates pressing uncomfortably against the skin. Their polished exteriors stood firm against the muck and downpours, essential in the ever-changing landscape of war. The assembly of these limb pieces unfolded with careful precision. First came the sunat, a vibrant beginning, followed by the coat, weaving its own tale, and at last the sood, bringing the story to a close. Every step was carefully assessed for ease and balance. In the heat of battle, dedicated hands would meticulously fine-tune the armor, ensuring that every piece remained steadfast and unyielding. Beyond mere utility, these elements enriched the samurai's silhouette, weaving a tale of honor and tradition. The flaring sound, articulated coat, and sturdy sunit combined to create a warrior of balanced, imposing stature. They served as the dynamic guardians of the armor, allowing offense and defense to dance together in perfect harmony, a testament to the fact that samurai armor embodied not only precision engineering, but also the deep reverence for ceremony and honor in the craft of samurai armor. The lower body received its due attention, never overlooked in the grand tapestry of design. Though the upper torso and head captured the spotlight, blows to the thighs, hips, and groin held their own peril, capable of delivering fatal consequences. The Haidate and Kusuzuri stood as the vital guardians of this fragile land, enabling the warrior to navigate with ease while providing protection against slashes, arrows, and the swift thrusts of spears. The Hidat were protective thigh guards, elegantly worn beneath the Kusuzuri, secured directly over the kimono or soft padded undergarments. They were made up of small, rectangular plates of iron or leather, meticulously sewn onto a fabric panel that gracefully enveloped the front of the thighs, resembling an apron. The design embraced adaptability, with the plates gently overlapping, to offer protection while allowing the legs to move freely, avoiding any constraints of rigidity. As one knelt or rode, the Hidat moved with a graceful fluidity, maintaining its agility even amidst the chaos of battle. Above them swayed the kusuziri delicate strips that cascaded gracefully from the hem of the do. Crafted with an artistry that speaks of tradition, the kusuziri typically features a series of flaring panels, meticulously constructed from rows of lacquered scales intricately laced together, harmonizing perfectly with the color and style of the cuirass. Their main duty was to safeguard the hips, pelvis, and upper thighs, regions especially vulnerable when the samurai leaned forward in battle or while riding. The kusuzuri played a vital role, enhancing the visual harmony of the armor. They enhanced the outline of the samurai, giving him a more robust and commanding presence. The rhythmic sway of the panels, as the warrior moved, enhanced his presence, reminiscent of a ceremonial dancer's robes, yet these panels held the power to deflect a sword strike. As the pieces came together, it was a sacred dance of preparation, a meticulous ritual that adorned the warrior in their protective embrace. The hadate were secured first, fitting snugly around the waist and upper legs, while the kusazuri already affixed to the do were carefully adjusted to drape evenly. The distance between the panels held great importance. If they were too close, they would restrict leg movement, while if they were too far apart, perilous gaps in protection could emerge. In a profound sense, these lower body defenses embodied unwavering strength and a sense of groundedness. Like a grand structure stands firm on its base, a samurai draws strength from his lower body, harnessing power in each strike, maintaining balance in his stances, and enduring through the trials of prolonged battles. Safeguarding it served not only as a practical requirement, but also as a symbol of safeguarding the foundation of one's power. In a harmonious blend, the hadate and kusazuri transformed delicate flesh into a stronghold. Allowing the samurai to stride with assurance, each step forward bolstered by the wisdom of both craftsmanship and heritage. Though forged from steel, leather, and lacquer, a samurai's armor found its true strength in the cords and belts that bound the entire ensemble in unity. Without them, the suit would merely exist as a disarray of plates, lacking purpose and form. The obi, that wide belt, along with the intricate web of himo, the armor cords, served as the unseen threads of the yoroi, connecting its components while also weaving together the warrior's essence of order, discipline, and calmness. The obi served as the very essence. Embracing the waist with a steadfast grip, it bore the weight of the swords, and on occasion it even shared the burden of the armor's load. Crafted from richly woven silk or cotton, the obi possessed a strength that belied its flexibility, allowing it to be adjusted with ease, whether tightened or loosened in a moment's notice. As one prepares to don the mighty armor, the first step is to secure the base. A crucial act before layering on the heavier pieces such as the do and kusazuri, the obi arranged the swords with precision, the katana's edge facing upward on one side, while the wakizashi or tanto rested on the other, allowing for a seamless draw even amidst the weight of armor. The himo or armor cords wove a tapestry of complexity. These delicate silk laces wove their way through tiny openings in the plates, uniting the components in a harmonious blend of utility and artistry. The intricate design and hue of the lacing held the power to reveal a clan's identity or signify one's status, yet its functional purpose remained of utmost importance. These cords wove a tale of strength and precision, ensuring that each section of armor moved gracefully and held firm in the heat of battle. The act of tying them was a craft unto itself. Helpers frequently engaged in the delicate art of weaving and knotting the cords, making certain that every segment rested exactly in its rightful place. A knot that is not tied with care can spell trouble in the heat of battle, a loose seam fluttering at the most inopportune time, shift that reveals the vulnerable ribs beneath. Thus, the act of securing one's armor was approached with the same gravity as honing a weapon's edge. The knots themselves wove a tale of etiquette. Some bonds were crafted to be swiftly severed, allowing for rapid escape after the clash, while others were bound with unyielding strength, ensuring the utmost protection. Warriors honed their skills to discern the nuances, both in their own protective gear and while aiding their fellow fighters. In a profound way, these bindings embodied the connection among the pieces of armor, the warrior, and their clan, as well as the intertwining of physical and spiritual readiness for the impending battle. A fully laced suit embodied unity. Much like the samurai whose body, mind, and purpose harmonized as he prepared for battle, ultimately, the cords and belt transcended their role as mere practical fasteners. They were the unseen strands that wove together disparate elements into a vibrant tapestry of valor, binding not only the protective gear, but also the warrior's resolve to face the fray. For a samurai, armor transcended the realm of mere equipment. It was a cherished relic, a steadfast friend, and frequently a revered treasure. To turn away from it was to cast aside the legacy of oneself and those who came before. much like a blade that needs to be honed to perfection. Armor, too, craved attention, and upkeep to ensure it remained fit for the valiant warrior who donned it. Once the battle or training had concluded, the armor was meticulously taken apart, each piece removed with care. Every piece kabuto-do, sewed, coat, hidate, sunita, underwent a careful examination for any signs of damage. With deft hands, skilled artisans meticulously hammered out the dents in metal plates, breathing new life into each piece. Frayed cords were gently replaced with luxurious silk lacing, often dyed to perfectly echo the original hues, restoring the beauty of the craftsmanship. Every chip in the lacquer was carefully restored, ensuring the armor's beauty remained intact while safeguarding it against the relentless grip of rust. The greatest foe of the armor was none other than moisture. Following a drenching campaign, or a sweltering summer skirmish, each plate was meticulously dried, and the cords were spread out to ward off any lurking mold. Armor found its resting place in a dry chest, occasionally cushioned with rice straw, a humble guardian against the creeping humidity. Though the kabuto graced a lacquered stand, it remained cloaked in a protective cloth, guarding it against the encroachments of dust and the harshness of sunlight. Cleaning transcended mere practicality. It became a sacred ritual. Some samurai embraced the process as a sacred ritual, allowing themselves a moment to ponder the recent clash and to mentally gear up for the challenges that lay ahead. The gentle cadence of loosening ties, polishing surfaces, and neatly arranging clothes transformed into a ritual, guiding one from the intensity of battle to the serene embrace of daily existence. Honor was bestowed upon the armor, reflecting the care with which it was treated. To let a piece fall carelessly, to tread upon it, or to set it down in a soiled place, was seen as a profound affront. In moments of rest, the armor lay in quiet repose, arranged with care and precision, poised to be worn at a moment's notice, should the call of duty arise. The enduring nature of the armor spoke volumes about the meticulous attention it received. Well-maintained suits could be passed down for generations, each layer of lacquer and every repaired plate weaving a tale of past battles. Some samurai etched heartfelt messages or prayers within their armor, with the hope that one day their descendants would don it. Thus, maintenance transcended the mere act of preserving a weapon. It became a tribute to a vibrant emblem of commitment, fidelity, and ancestral legacy. To care for one's armor was to uphold one's honor, guaranteeing that when the moment arrived to don it once more, it would be as prepared as the warrior himself. To don the armor was to embrace a new identity, while to shed it was to reclaim the essence of the self once more. For the samurai, the act of shedding yoroi was steeped in significance, never approached with a light heart. It signified the conclusion of a chapter where he transcended the ordinary, becoming something greater than mere humanity. He stood as the very essence of his clan's pride, a fierce instrument of power, and a steadfast protector of his lords. Desires in the quiet moments, the journey took its first breath. In the aftermath of battle or the fulfillment of duty, a samurai would either stand tall or kneel gracefully as loyal assistants began the meticulous task of untying the cords, commencing with the outermost layers. With a gentle touch, the sewed and kusazuri were often the first to be removed, their silk laces carefully loosened to prevent any tangling. The rhythmic clash of polished plates resonated like a symphony, marking the moment a warrior cast aside his battle-worn armor. Next, the kabuto was gently removed from the head, elevated with care, and either placed on a stand or lovingly wrapped in cloth. Taking off the helmet held deep meaning. It signified the instant when the warrior's thoughts could finally relax, their vigilance. For many, the sensation of air brushing against sweat-damp hair served as a profound emotional release, intertwining the physical and the heartfelt in a dance of liberation. The dew, the very essence of the armor, was frequently the last to be removed among the significant plates as it unfurled and drifted into the distance. The burden that had rested upon the shoulders was released, both in a tangible sense and as a profound metaphor. The samurai's body found liberation once more, and alongside it, his spirit soared, unshackled from the concentrated weight of his armor. As the last of the plates were cleared away, the undergarments were delicately folded and placed aside, awaiting their turn for a refreshing wash. With careful eyes, the assistants or the samurai himself would examine each piece for any signs of wear. Embarking on the journey of maintenance without delay if necessary, armor was always gathered with care. Every piece found its rightful home, poised for the next summons to action. For some, the removal ritual unfolded with a heartfelt prayer of thanks, expressing gratitude for survival, for the armor's steadfast protection, and for the honor of fulfilling one's sacred duty. In moments of tranquility, the ceremony may be accompanied by tea or serene contemplation, serving as a gentle bridge back into the rhythm of everyday existence. The ritual of shedding armor served as a poignant reminder to the samurai that life encompassed more than just the clash of swords. In the heart of every warrior lies this understanding that the art of battle is but one facet of existence. Beyond the clash of swords, there exists a profound duty to embrace the roles of leader, father, or servant, shedding the weight of conflict to nurture the bonds that truly matter. Thus, the ritual of removal served not as a conclusion, but as a passage linking the realm of battle to the preservation of the samurai's integrity in both worlds.